about her. Hell yeah. Legends.
Yeah, see, I'm not old, but I know things.
Well, see, that's what I like about our age group is like when we were younger, we actually had to watch reruns. You know what I mean? So like now they don't have the kids don't have to watch the
I
older
used to
shows.
get so sick and tired of watching Wagon Train.
Oh God, yeah.
When will Lost in Space come on? You know,
Being a Brit, I can remember things like Little House and John Boy.
the Waltons.
The Waltons and things like that. But yeah, it was mainly sort of British, more British culture. So orientated stuff.
That's because
Like the episodes of Doctor Who and stuff.
they had you guys locked in though. Like the BBC was ones that were really in full control in your country. So like you didn't,
Actually, not too. Remember, I think I remember when Channel 4 started back in '82.
You know,
Being a Brit, I was being a Brit. I think I remember things like.
I would say the best thing that the BBC and we had for crossover between the pond was anything that Jerry Anderson came up with, like UFO,
Thunderbirds, Stingray,
Space 1999, Thunderbirds. You know that was probably the hugest crossover.
Scarlet, yeah.
and nobody talks about UFO, but it was like one of the best.
A husband, like a
You know
couple.
what I mean? It really was. I remember freaking that show back when I was freaking a kid. You know, and like man, dude.
How about Supercar? Supercar was like one of my favorites.
No.
Supercar. It would turn into a sub. It would fly. It would do just any old thing, you know. Get into the supercar and go. You know.
I think we had some weird, of the more weirder British stuff like The Prisoner, as an example.
That one is the one I liked.
Like
Actually. Like,
It's. I mean, you gotta think about stuff like that, you know. And what kind of insights that those writers in that had. You know, from the government. You know?
I wouldn't have gotten into Iron Maiden if it wasn't for the Prisoner, dude. Just put it to you that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had a freaking what was it? Run to the no, it wasn't one. What was it? It started out with the beginning of freaking The Prisoner, where he goes, "I'm not a number, I'm a free man," and then it freaking went into the song. But that was the first song I heard from. Into music and everything. We've been talking about getting some music set up and going, but we've got to figure out how to do it proper on the internet because of latency. That's something that I didn't even know.
3 second to a whole minute delay.
Yeah.
Right.
I deal with that all the time.
And like right now, what we're doing, we're having a conversation. It's not really as noticeable, you know what I mean? But when you take two people from two different parts of the country or parts of the world and they're trying to do it, it's completely impossible for them to do it.
You mean like a virtual band kind of thing?
Yeah. Where they can jam
I
together.
think. Yeah. I think. What's that app?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you in on this right now. Skype doesn't really allow that.
Yeah.
I've tried to do different things over the years and that, and
Zoom,
you're going
right?
to do that. If you're going to try to attempt something like that, Skype is not going to be the platform that you're going to want to use. You're probably going to want to use something like Discord.
We've tried it on Discord. That was where we tried it the last time, I think. No, actually, we didn't. We did it on. Did we do it on Jitsi?
Zoom works really well with virtual bands.
You got to pay for that shit though.
Yeah.
Unless you self-host, there might be some self-hosting.
The biggest thing, the biggest problem you have with audio platforms like Skype, WWOW, and a lot of the others, is that it will not capture all of the frequency that you want to use when you're playing music. So, one person playing and possibly singing, you're going to hear it cutting in and out on any of those. I've used a lot of them. The only one that I haven't tried out yet is Discord or something like that. Like a gaming platform.
As far as latency is concerned, this is where technologies like stun and turn can actually help. System turn and stun servers. The issue that I'm having at this present moment with Nextcloud sold.
I've been kind of having an idea, but I don't know how well it would work on OBS if you could get the people who are involved with actually trying to jam to freaking get on here with their OBSs and synchronized freaking delay times.
That's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So with Zoom you can get 40 minutes free.
Yeah, Zoom's got an absolutely terrible terms of service. I've used them a few times for corporate company sort of stuff, and
You heard what happened to Robert Morningstar on there, didn't you?
No.
He got on there and started doing his show, and freaking all of a sudden he had trolls coming on freaking posting like gay porn and shit on his freaking
yeah, they've got very restricted
Yeah.
TOS.
Well, that could happen with any.
like that.
Trolls can happen
This is why I'm
anywhere.
in favour of self-hosting.
I mean, you can get trolls on channels that don't have anything on it at all.
I mean, like, how the hell do you get people just coming in and posting gay porn on your chat? You know what I mean?
That's what happened with mine's chat. with Kylie. Kylie.
Why do you think I've got an entire every time I remove a comment or ban somebody from one of the official rooms, so generals or canaries, I always make a screenshot first, just in case anything comes back on me. So if a staff member asks me why I banned them, not that has ever happened, but just in case. And I've got a directory with something like, must be 300 images.
Well, yeah, you could be, what do you call it?
An entrepreneur.
No.
Start selling all
storing, explicit materials.
Most of them are just spam, buy this latest cryptocurrency. I can offer you £5 billion as an investment of 2p.
Did you take the screenshot of those stuff that Kylie Barnes posted?
I may have done no, because at the time she was there, staff members were there, so I may have I've used screenshots of her. I'll have to have a look, but again, I lose count of what I've got and what I haven't got because.
I doubted those were. You think those were her pictures?
Probably not. Like, they never post their pictures, or usually
but,
people.
But she's different. She's the real. She's not like one of those spammers. She's a real deal.
See if I have.
Who's that? Which one's that?
Kylie Barnes, General Mind Chat, a couple of years back.
We had a major problem with this one spammer that was just doxing people and some sort of broken love affair or something. And it got messy.
Yeah, but we need to elaborate on what doxing is, because, like, I've learned from Mr. Robot, there ain't too many people on Minds who actually know what doxing really is. What do you consider doxing?
Anything that passes what's under the GDPR would be personal identifiable information with the owner's consent.
And passing it on to a list so that you can...
Well,
their home address, for instance.
Yeah, giving up an address, or their phone number.
I wanted to double check so that
the actual name, if they want to hide the actual name. Yeah,
and then saying, hey, this person's on a bad list, or, and then give out all that information, and then why you think that they should be on that bad list. That's doxing.
Yeah. Well, I had to. Well, I should have actually confronted him about it, but Mr. Robot thought I was freaking doxing him because I mentioned that he was on Twitter, dude. I was like, dude, freaking, that's not doxing you.
That's not doxing.
Well, it is doxing. It would be considered doxing if you go to his Skype profile and find on there that he has his home address on there.
No, Twitter. No, Skype.
Technically, that would be in the public realm anyway.
It is public. It is public, Mark, but where it comes is the association between Mr. Robot and that profile.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Agreed. But just check. And Kyle, what's her name? Isn't in my
No, I mean, what did she do? Like put freaking porn pics and shit up or something?
Yeah, she
No,
put
it was
like
well, yeah, it was
yeah.
bit porn, but it was mainly just doxing some other user. It was just
Well, first they started. First
there
they
was some
doxed.
sexual explicit comments.
She was apparently a girlfriend, or she considers herself a girlfriend of some other character, some other personality
Like,
on Minds,
uh,
and something turned sour, so she started
something like
doxing him.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and then the poor guy ended up closing his Minds account.
I'm not sure.
He ended up getting off of Minds.
But yeah, because the Canary Group is all about help and support. As Roger and Tom knows, it can be quite
Mr. Tron.
efficient when it comes to forcing people to stay on subject. And it's been quite a few times where I've just banned people because they just started to, I don't know, provide crypto scams and stuff.
Well, the bad part about it is when they go on Canary support and do that shit. I couldn't believe that shit when I actually started paying attention.
I spent a long time removing
You'd
comments.
think they would freaking like. I mean, for me personally, if I'm gonna be doing that shit, I'm not gonna go on the help and support freaking chat, freaking try to put spam up. Not unless it's a bot that I'm having freaking just go and randomly pop it up on every chat room.
I tried to
you really don't get that kind of thing on mine. So that you do, but it's very few and scattered.
Yeah.
Compared to other platforms. Compared to other platforms.
In the chat, in the Minds chat platform, it has been a major issue. And it forced me just to create stock comments like, this room is here for the purpose of blurb blurb. And I've actually got a directory just with text files with just stock comments in there. So if anybody posts anything that is questionable, I will always put up a stock comment, and if they continue, I'll ban them.
Yeah.
See, that's why we.
Well, yeah. My favorite thing about Minds is if I don't want to listen to someone or anything like that, they can't force themselves onto my Minds, right?
Yeah.
I can just unfollow them and that'll be it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where if you were on, like Facebook, they can tag you in it. Post straight to your main page.
They can follow you. That's what gets. That's the thing that really bugs me the most about Facebook is like they don't even have to be following you and shit. They can
all they have to do is tag you.
Right. Well, on your profile too, they can freaking become a fan.
Well, you can now prevent non-friends from tagging you. So they've implemented a bunch of privacy features since then. But what I don't like about Facebook is, if you start using their Messenger one time, the Messenger app, it automatically turns on your online status so that everybody who is your friend's uncle knows that you're online.
Yeah.
So
that's not good.
That's why I never use that Messenger app anymore.
I'm shooting shotgun tonight, and it's been a crazy, hectic week as always on this great space roller coaster with exotic airborne technology. Let's put it that way. These are people, it is rumored, and this story just hit the mainstream in a big way, on starting with Fox News over the past week, and now it's everywhere. On mainstream, even the president making statements about it, etc., that the scientists have gone missing, along with the great, or I should say, the good General McCaslin, the guy that was in charge. Well, I shouldn't say all, but a great deal of alien technology, and it is rumored even the bodies recovered from the Roswell incident. And so all of that kind of fits together into a nice little piece of the puzzle to go into this rabbit hole. And that brings me to to programs that were developing extremely highly exotic technologies, dealing with anti-gravity research. That's interesting, given that we've had a number of different factories and, well, things like that mysteriously burn up lately. So it's almost like somebody, and it could be a combination of us and maybe Chinese intelligence doing the burning of the factories, but it could be that X-Protect has been tripped into action, and that X-Protect, those embedded intelligence agents in the United States aerospace industries, have basically been conducting an operation to get rid of all of the people that the Congress could call forward and spill the beans on the entire program to back engineer alien technology. That's something that came to mind this week about this particular rabbit hole, because it's being reported by Ross Coulthart and others. He's the journalist on News Nation. Check out his weekly show. I believe it's called Reality Check. Is actually pretty good. But he's reporting that that basically the Pentagon, there are people in the Pentagon powerful enough that they're defying the presidential order to release the UFO files and videos, and instead have offered the politicians a briefing on the videos, not an actual showing of the videos. So you're beginning to see that, little tug of war taking place. Anna Paulina Luna, the congresswoman, is right at the heart of this whole thing. And she's the one that came out and said that these things, according to the top secret information she's been given access to, that these things are interdimensional in nature. That has led some of the people that have religious backgrounds, and mainly in, the Western religion of Christianity, to come to the conclusion, and these are high-ranking military people, but they've come to the conclusion that these things must be demonic in nature. That's really the heart of the battle. You have a group of highly religious, high-ranking individuals at the Pentagon who cannot accept in their belief system the idea that an interdimensional alien species not only exists, but has found a way into our existence here on this planet without it being demonic somehow in nature. And they appear to be fighting tooth and nail against the other nuts and bolts kind of argument that, no, this is real technology and, demons don't need to fly in a spaceship. And that's a powerful argument, right? Because when you think about angels and demons, they don't need a spaceship. And here, these things create spaceships. They need machinery to fly around. They need machinery to get here. That kind of thing. So that's the battle taking place. And it's my guess, and the guess of many others, that in fact, X-Protect has been called into action, as it were, and are in the middle of conducting a wet work operation in the United States, completely illegal. If anybody got caught, they would all go to jail, that kind of a thing. So it's, when they start doing that kind of an operation, you know that they're scared. You know that somebody somewhere was close to letting it all out of the bag, and they had to step into the field and begin to take all these people out that could trace it all the way to them. And that's really kind of what you're seeing right now. And I think that's where the breadcrumbs will lead. I think that is the architecture of this particular rabbit hole. And a lot of that information about X-Protect, is interesting in that it is out there in Wonderland, as I like to call it, the internet. There's a new documentary out. I did see an interview with the filmmaker this week, and what can I say? He sold me on the film. It sounds like quite something. I'll be viewing it very soon, but the interview that he had with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp is well worth watching. And we've got some sad news, paranormal in the news, and that is, it's been preliminarily reported, and I did see a police report from Boulder County Sheriff's Office. Whether or not that was somehow faked in conjunction with somebody trying to perpetrate a hoax, we're still trying to ascertain, but it has been reported by credible sources, in my opinion, that the former star of Ancient Aliens and Cosmic Disclosure and all kinds of different programs that were produced by David Wilcock has committed suicide. So The report I saw was that the police were responded to the property, and he was outside the property with a gun outside of his house, anyway, on his property. And somehow that led to him using that weapon on himself. That's what was reported to me. I actually saw that report. It did not state Wilcox's name in the report. It didn't state anyone's name, only that the incident had happened, and that had occurred in conjunction with a well-known documentary filmmaker who was employed by Gaia and who personally employed David Wilcock, posted on Facebook that he had in fact taken his own life. So that's pretty good, and I know the man personally, the filmmaker, so that's pretty good inside information. And how can I say, I was employed by Gaia during that period of time, and I saw that conjunction of David Wilcock and Corey Good coming like a wrecking ball. That nothing of what they were saying, and I mean nothing, matched up with 80 years of hard-nosed, in-the-field UFO research coming from the likes of, you know, people like Linda Moulton Howe and, you know, Stanton Friedman and people like that. Nothing matched. It was like, where did they get this information from? Because how did none of this ever leak to any of these really well-known UFO journalists over an 80-year period, and all of a sudden these guys show up and they just have all this inside information and everybody just believed it. And, you know, it ended up blowing up in Gaia's face. It ended up causing a huge scandal. It ended up to the point of lawsuits, multi-million-dollar lawsuits taking place, in which Corey Good admitted that he was basically full of crap and had made everything up, and that he had imagined all of the things about the Galactic Federation and the you know, alien beings that kept coming to see him and taking him on these missions to Mars and all of that. So, and you can, you know, you look back on it now. At the time, I was thinking to myself, this guy has got to be a Mirage, one of the Mirage men. He's been put out there to sow disinformation and misinformation in the UFO field in order to create chaos. This was at a point where I think Gaia was pushing a lot of buttons, and they must have hit the wrong button, and that tripped certain intelligence operatives into action, and I think that led to all of the downfall and chaos that ensued, ultimately leading up to the downfall of David Wilcock from, you know, he was pretty much an international superstar. That's all there was to it. He was on show after show, documentary after documentary, like 19 years of Ancient Aliens, bestseller after bestseller. He owned 3 properties in Colorado alone. He was wealthy, he was famous, he had it all in the paranormal world, and he watched it all disappear almost in the blink of an eye because he couldn't recognize or was somehow involved with the complex disinformation campaign that seemed to have been part of what Corey Good was unfolding at that point. So it's a sad story. It's the dark side of paranormal research, right? And there's a lot of people that end up, as one of my mentors once said, there are a lot of people who take a powered nosedive with occult assistance, right? And that was what happened. A case in point, a perfect example of what not to do in the paranormal and UFO and alien research world. is exactly what happened to David. So it's a sad thing. What can you say? There have been some success stories like Billy Carson, who was on Ancient Aliens and now has kind of his own production network that's in competition with Gaia. So you have that kind of stuff going on, which is interesting. But no, this one ended in absolute tragedy. Ended in divorce. It ended in financial ruin. It ended in suicide. And let that be a lesson to all of us involved in paranormal research to not let it get to that point of seriousness. We're here to learn the truth. We're not here to kill ourselves over it. And so, some mistakes you just don't walk away from. And that's exactly what happened. So, but Anna Paulina Luna on social media, the congresswoman that I mention all the time, because she's, neck deep in this UFO disclosure fight. She posted on her social media that everyone needs to read the Book of Enoch. And so I thought, what better topic to cover this week than the Book of Enoch, its origins, how it survived the Dark Ages and the Great Inquisition periods of the Catholic Church by finding its way into remote temples, as it were, in Ethiopia, Axiom to be exact, where a copy was later discovered by a descendant, actually, of Robert the Bruce. Famous Robert the Bruce. So, and that's how we know about the Book of Enoch today. The Book of Enoch is fascinating if you don't know anything about it, but it is mentioned in the actual Bible itself in Genesis 6:4 when it describes how the Nephilim were on earth in those days and also after, and had children by way of the daughters of men, and those children became mighty men of renown, the great heroes of old, as it is written. Well, the Book of Enoch tells a much longer version of those few verses that we find in the Bible. And the much longer version was not included by the Council of Nicaea, which was a council that the Roman Emperor at the time, Constantine, who converted the empire into Christianity, called forth all of the biblical leaders of that day. He basically sat them down and said, we've got to get our story straight, and you guys need to figure out which books are in the actual, accepted version of the Bible and which ones aren't, and they threw the Book of Enoch out. So today it is available in bookstores. You can go buy a copy of the Book of Enoch, and I highly recommend you do so and read it because it is fascinating. It not only tells the story of man's interaction with what was definitely not a human species, and the interesting because in both genealogies given for Jesus, direct lineal descendant of Enoch. And Enoch's grandson was Noah. And Noah have been running stories about scans of the supposed Noah's Ark on Mount You've probably been seeing that on mainstream media. It ends up surviving the Council of Nicaea throwing it out, and their interaction with the Anunnakian people, and in effect, it is the Anunnakian language. And we'll get right back to that right after this break.
All right, Jack. Great job. Oh, I got a message from Vic. And he's coming in next week with you.
Cool. Awesome. That's great. That's great. I would love to have him on. So we'll talk cryptid. We'll be talking Dogman, werewolves.
Bigfoot. Yeah,
Bigfoot.
Yeah, he does it all. A little bit.
That'd be great.
Not all, but He was like, cool. When I hit him up on Facebook earlier, I was like, he's like, oh, do you listen to my channel? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's one of the better channels out there for the topic. And I'm like, he goes, do you want to come on? Do you have an experience? I'm like, well, I have some experiences, but they're not Dogman or Bigfoot. Well, one might be a Dogman. I'm not sure. When I was out in Missouri, I think I told you about this. It's when we were going out to change over out in the missile field in Missouri. We spotted something along the road that was hunting turkeys. There was a flock of turkeys, and
oh wow,
and it had like a really long tail, but it was huge. And so I knew it wasn't a bear, and I knew it wasn't a cow. It was about the size of a huge cow, but that big. And when I told JC about it, he goes, "Oh, that's probably a cave bear." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, he goes, "It had a short short snout in the front? And I said, yeah, kind of. And he said, it had a long tail? I'm like, yeah. And I said, it was real bushy, too. I said, but it was like golden brown all over. And he's like, yeah, it's got to be a K-Bear. That ain't no Bigfoot or dog man. I'm like, okay. You would know, you know. But
Short
you know,
face,
it always
K-Bear, yeah.
it was always in my head. You know, it's like that was a strange thing. And all four of us going out to change over saw it on our way out to the capsule.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and you talking about, oh, yeah, me broadcasting from the capsule. Yeah, oh, that's one of the first things that flashes in my head.
That's awesome.
Hold on here. Oh, Roger said he had something like that he experienced around Kansas City.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that was back 93, 94. Time frame.
Yeah, it's been
might have it might have even been even later than that. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to try to get back out to the area of the Dakota man beast soon. So.
I'm thinking this is around the time of year that I keep seeing those pterosaurs out at that one area, and I keep looking for them. It's like because I've seen them twice. I saw the last time I seen them was a pair of them, and the first time I saw was one went right across my truck.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is. I mean, man, and there's no way I could have took a picture, because I'm going like 65, 70 miles an hour on 35. So you know how that goes. Well, we got about 30 seconds, Jack, and we'll be back on air. That's why I'm always interested in the, like amphibious and also the aerial cryptids.
Me too. They fascinate me. The sightings of the pterosaurs are way cool.
Yeah. Here's your countdown, Jack. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you are back live and on the radio side right now.
Everyone, Paranormal Intelligence Agency Radio Live. I'm your host, Jack Carey. I've got a face for milk cartons and a voice for smell-o-vision, and tonight we're jumping down the architectural rabbit hole of the Book of Enoch. So the Book of Enoch is, it's a fascinating read. It recounts in detail that there were these beings that Enoch refers to simply as the Watchers. The Sumerian tablets refer to them as the Anunnaki, or the people of Anu, or literally those who to the earth from the heavens came. And when you read the Book of Enoch and compare it to the Sumerian accounts, they're almost identical in nature. And so it is believed by many researchers, including myself, that the Watchers and the Anunnaki were one and the same. The Enoch talks about how some of these Watchers conspired to save humanity from a global flood. That global flood was put into place artificially by the Anunnaki people, the Grand Council, who had grown disgusted, it says in the actual Sumerian writings. They had become disgusted that human beings had been produced in such vast numbers, and that they had discovered that it was Enki's wife, one of two royal princes, mind you, who mixed some of his DNA into the DNA of a female relic hominid, as we would put it, that was on this planet at the time, and that's what created the humana, or the human species. This gave birth to the first Adamu, which is where the word Adam comes from, and it was the first Adamu who later is put as the priest king of a colony, and that colony was called Eden, literally in the tablets. Very crazy, right? So you get to see this sort of version of what's biblically accepted in the Book of Enoch, but with a lot more detail about what ended up happening. So Enki and his wife, and their name was Nin-Karsag, actually conspired to save some of their creation from being destroyed because they had become, in love with it. They created these beings, some of them, or they shared her husband's royal Anunnaki DNA, and they were truly a breakthrough in genetic technology for her, and they wanted to save some of them. The main royal line of Enki himself through the human lineage they wanted to save from the global flood. That royal line was the line of Noah himself. And it actually shows in the Bible 2 genealogies. Both of them go back to through Lamech and Methuselah all the way to Enoch. And if you trace it all the way down, they lead to the bloodline of Jesus. That's why it is biblically important and important in occult circles. Both. So this deceit gets discovered by spies in the royal court. They reported to Anu. Anu then cast his royal son Enki down on the earth with his followers, which were about 200. I surmise that these were actually probably his royal guard that were birthed with him and were with him his entire life. The Anunnaki princes actually had these bodyguards that literally lived with him their whole lives, and he had 200 of these, and they were all cast down together. They were followers of Enki. On to Mount Armon, it says, and that's where the fallen angel mythos is born. But I would ask you, what if you were a royal prince with some followers and you created this genetic creature? You didn't want it destroyed, so you made a secret plan against your father and he cast you down on this planet forever. What if you were cast down on what was tantamount to these beings as being a desert island in the middle of nowhere, left with no technology, left with no medical assistance, left with no weaponry, left with no tools, left with literally nothing but the creation they had created? That was the punishment. These guys went around the earth and they built monuments out of pure stone using mathematical knowledge and engineering skills that we can't even come close to this very day. Not even our wildest dreams or with our best technology. That's how advanced they were. You want to know who built the pyramids? You want to know who built Baalbek? You want to know who built all the underground cities? And, all of the monuments in the UK and France and Newgrange and all of that? It was the Anunnaki and their descendants. And not only that, but the Book of Enoch says that they went on to teach them all the forbidden knowledge and secrets, including so-called magic, which I have surmised is actually a body of techniques that these beings embedded into so-called mystery schools and cultures around the world, in order to preserve ancient knowledge, and this knowledge was how to use human biology to affect our surroundings in ways which are unseen, right? It's a way of tripping or causing psychic functioning in the human species. And each one of these mystery schools possessed one of the secrets of how this functioning takes place, and they were expected to keep it alive over time because the Anunnaki weren't immortal. They did have extremely long lifespans, which led humans to, deify them, but so did their offspring. And all of the ancient biblical ages that you read are real accounts of how long these offspring were able to live. Some of them many hundreds, even thousands of years. So, and that's how long these Anunnaki beings were able to remain alive. One of the many things that they ended up teaching to their human offspring was their alphabet and their language. It's interesting because that particular secret was so powerful that it found its way deep, deep into occult circles. It was kept alive, we believe, by the Rosicrucian orders. And I say that because it was the Rosicrucians who go all the way back to Grail lore and beyond. Who it is said in the writings of the Order of the Golden Dawn actually gave that knowledge to Dr. John Dee and his scribe, Edward Kelly. It is Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly who are famous worldwide for having discovered the Enochian language. The Enochian language is actually the Anunnakian language. And in the writings of the Golden Dawn, they state that John Dee and Edward Kelly, in their many travels to Europe, were inducted into a Rosicrucian order, and it was in this order that they had been given the knowledge of this super, super powerful, super, super ancient language. And by powerful, I mean that you're talking about a species of being who are so advanced that the language itself was based on the mathematical harmonic construction of words that were constructed in such a way as they could cause conformity in will with basic conformity and actual reality matrix with their will. In other words, the words that made up their language were mathematically constructed to have a relationship to the fabric of reality. These beings could literally speak things almost into existence, right? They could do all kinds of things with their language, and that's why even today, the Enochian language, the proper use of the Enochian language is something that only the most secret and most proficient of occult groups even try to attempt. So, and it's something that I actually spoke about many times on the documentary series Ancient Civilizations. It was through the Dark Ages that the Rosicrucians apparently were able to keep this knowledge alive. The Order of the Golden Dawn states that some of their occultists and researchers had gone around the world and found some of the letters recounted by John Dee and Edward Kelly, actually inscribed in what they said were, quote, temples older than the world. In other words, they had been around the world, and these were the most accomplished occultists who ever lived. Right? What's fascinating to me is the Order of the Golden Dawn began because of some cryptic writings they discovered in a book in a antique bookstore in Germany. One of their members found a book, and in the book were occult writings from a Fräulein Springel, was her name, funny enough. And they were able to contact this woman who claimed to be part of an ancient order, and that she wasn't going to tell them anything else, and that they had already discovered enough. That's fascinating. And that gives you a glimpse into how ancient and how old and how secretive some of these orders are, right? Even just a few of her writings gave birth to what today we consider to be the greatest occult group that ever lived. Imagine what that group knows, what was undiscovered by the Order of the Golden Dawn. You know, those are the secrets that dreams are made of, for people like me, of knowing what it is they know. But this language became, over time, one of the greatest occult secrets, and along with that came the secret that many of the ancient royal bloodlines all through Europe literally trace their lineage back to this interaction with the original Anunnaki progenitors. There's no... It's no coincidence, let me put it that way, that the Book of Enoch and the Bible mention 200 of them landing on Mount Armon. At the same time, there being exactly 200 ancient royal bloodlines. And most of them found their way, of course, through Europe and even into American leadership. So that's how that works. And it is those bloodlines and the people who understand their lineage going back that far, and have those genealogies showing that that's their lineage, who believe they have a right to rule over the rest of humanity. They believe it is a genealogical right stretching back to humanity's interaction with something that to them was divine in nature. In other words, they were born of the gods. That's what these people believe. Where do you think that the Illuminati came from? The Illuminati, the Priory of Zion, the, well, today I would even say the Crowley's group, the what do they even call themselves these days? But anyway, Crowley's group, these are all emanations, really, of they are the priesthood of the so-called Illuminati. That's what these groups do. That's what they are. And every one of them really houses and tries to advance teachings that go all the way back to a time when it was forbidden to teach humans how to use their mental biology in order to create psychic effect in the world around them. That's really what it comes down to. If you want a really good book on all of those various techniques with the religious symbolism that became encrusted around them over eons of time because of human religions being formed and then falling away. There's a couple of really good books out there. Liber Null and Psychonaut is one of them by Mr. Carroll. That's his name. Carroll be the last name of Peter Carroll. So that's a fantastic book that kind of strips away all of the, symbolism and reduces what the Anunnaki must have taught humanity in a scientific way, like actually showing the biology and mathematics of how that kind of thing works. And it is fascinating because, let's face it, the CIA is conducting their own psychic espionage experiments in laboratories as we speak, right? Back in the Dark Ages, that would get you burned at the stake because you were practicing witchcraft. That's what I'm talking about, is that they're both doing the same thing, one in laboratory conditions, one in secretive occult groups, and they're just using two different vocabularies to describe it. That's exactly what's happening. Something I wrote about in my book, American Sorcerer, which is also available and out there on Amazon. So, in fact, you can take all of the CIA's remote viewing controls and protocols that they developed using roughly $200 million in government funding under the strictest laboratory conditions imaginable, and you can apply them perfectly to the techniques practiced in these occult groups. What do those controls and protocols do? They basically ensure that what you're seeing is psychic functioning and not something that just appears to be psychic functioning, like cross-contamination of a target that you're fed, like knowledge of where that target is and what it encases and all of that sort of thing. They do that through a number of control mechanisms that make it impossible for the CIA remote viewer to ever know what the target is other than a randomly chosen serial number by someone they call the tasker, someone who is completely removed from the program. That's how much control there is. Well, that same thing can be applied to the biological psychic techniques that the Anunnaki, who were cast down and left here on this planet, taught to their offspring. Those abilities and the exercises, mental exercises necessary in order to trip that functioning in human biology is something which became encapsulated in all of the various mystery schools around the world. That is what they've been protecting. And it's time now for them to, sort of come out of the shadows and say, yep, that's what we got. It's time for humanity to start using psychic techniques in order to not only sort of steer the future of our own species, but to deal with this now interdimensionally invasive alien species that Anna Paulina Luna and many other capable human beings have said are taking place right now on this planet. These beings, it is said by Dr. David M. Jacobs, have a neurologic superiority to humans. Do you know what that means? A neurologic superiority means they have the ability to psychically seize your mind. That's how they do the memory overlay with alien abductees who have the missing time. The abductees claim that the beings that are one up in power than the great little gray guys, which are the praying mantis-like beings, are so neurologically powerful that they can seize a human mind from a long distance away. Apparently, the grays don't have that kind of distance. They have to be relatively close. But what you're seeing is psychic functioning in an alien species in such a way that it is superior to what our ability is. Imagine then the importance of humanity knowing all of these different techniques encapsulated in these mystery schools around the planet and putting them together into a whole that produces a viable scientifically testable system for weaponizing human psychic functioning in such a way that it can also be utilized to ensure that we're not being taken advantage of by an predatory alien species. That's really what it comes down to, and that's the importance of the Book of Enoch. And believe it or not, I do have a book on the Book of Enoch called the Enoch Code that goes into great depth about all of this. There's over 100 quotes from experts in their field to actually prove the point and to identify the lost tomb of the royal prince of Enki himself, right? There is no greater occult secret anywhere in the world than the lost tomb of Enki. And I truly believe that there is sufficient evidence to point to the fact that the lost tomb of Enki is actually located between 5 perfectly placed mountain peaks in the south of France. These 5 mountain peaks actually form a perfect, to the foot, a perfect geometric pentagram. This perfect geometric pentagram has a triangular field right at the center of it. And that triangular field, when it was photographed by the authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and later Key to the Sacred Pattern, had a winged serpent inscribed upon it. All of these pictures and knowledge can be found in my book. The winged serpent was an ancient Egyptian symbol, believe it or not, for the Anunnaki and those who to the earth from the skies came. Interesting stuff, guys. All of that actually becomes encapsulated in a number of Renaissance paintings and the secret actual construction of those Renaissance paintings. Many people don't know that the Renaissance painters were heavily into occult circles, and that the occult circles used their paintings in order to encode certain esoteric information. And much of that was recorded in the paintings of the famous Nicholas Poussin. And one of those paintings was called The Shepherds of Arcadia. And The Shepherds of Arcadia can be found online. I think you should take a look at it. And it's through that little anagram that he put on the front, written in Latin, the one on the tomb, Et in Arcadia Ego. Well, guess what? That's a anagram for a Latin phrase. You mix the letters around, it spells I tego Dracena Yah. I guard the dragon Yah. And guess who Yah was? Yah was the Sumerian name for the Anunnaki prince, Enki. So I will leave you with that dark rabbit hole to think about this evening as you're going to sleep, and you'll have to join me next week as we go down another one of these crazy rabbit holes and we examine the architecture of a rabbit hole. I'll see you guys on the radio.
Great job, Jack.
Cool.
They can hear you, but they can't see you.
They can't see me, huh? I can
on the radio.
Oh, I know, that's why I say that.
I wonder how many people always look around. How is he looking at me?
That's why I always say it. Oh, it's funny.
Yeah. I always used to do, by the way, you see us down in the little pip down in the corner there,
Right. That's funny.
Yeah. I just cleared TMV Cafe. I'm going to get over to Nancy here real quick.
Sweet.
I don't know what she has going on tonight. She's probably going to talk about David also. most likely.
Awesome.
And some other things, if I know her.
Right.
All right. Well, I'll catch up with you later. If you're going to join us, well, I'll see you in a few minutes then. If not, well, I'll get this up and out like I always do.
Okay, sounds good, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night. All right, that was Jack Carey, the Paranormal Intelligence Agency. Let me get switched over on there we go, on OBS so that folks can see and hear us. Well, they'll always hear us, but not always see us. You know. Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, Mark, I just heated up a cup of coffee.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, I was in the kitchen there. I'll be right back. My microwave went off. I'll be right there.
Hey, Nance.
So I take it. I was going to say, I take it Dave is microwaving shit.
Uh-oh. I don't know if Naroki's going to join us or not. I'll just click him in just in case. I don't know if he's working or not.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Vicky.
Hey,
Did I get everybody?
Hey, Vic. There's Naroki. Did you get Rafi?
I'm looking.
He might be
somebody down here. I don't know who it is.
There's Raph.
Oh, they're Koki. They're Koki 5.
Yeah, that's Naroki.
Naroki.
He's our Canadian insider.
Oh yeah.
Canada Corner. Kudu.
There's Mark Edworthy on Eastern Standard
Mr.
Time.
Edworthy from the other side of the pond.
Indeed.
Oh.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Did you hear about David Wilcock?
Oh, yeah. I posted it within a few minutes of the announcement.
Okay, well, anyways, John, who normally doesn't do that kind of stuff, mentioned him, as well as Barry and Jack. Just to give you a heads up.
No, you cannot. I do like the one paranormal show, so you can't tell me not to talk about
I'm
David
not saying
Wilcox.
not to talk about it. I'm just saying that, you know.
And I know him. I mean, that's the thing. And that's like Nick
Well,
Pope,
I'm sure
too.
you have more things on it than...
He's alive.
But,
what happened to him? And who was it?
I guess Jack...
We'll wait.
I guess Jack knew him at Gaia.
Jack knows him, too. Yep.
And on top of that, what's the other one? Sonya. We got to get with Sonya because he was like one of her heroes.
Well, it's bigger than Gaia, I can tell you that. It's way bigger than Gaia. And people just, you don't know. And it's like, dude, it connects to the scientists that went missing. It connects to a lot of things.
I'm going to let you know you got less than 30, well, you got about 30 seconds.
Is he the one that was killed in the car accident?
No, Dave, we'll talk about it on air because anybody who knew him knows that what they're saying, no way.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Jack's got Vic Vindicuf next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep.
Okay.
You might want to try to get him too. Here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you are live for the very first time tonight, right now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Vixen's Vault. Today's date is April the 22nd, 2026. It is 9 o'clock on the dot p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and I'd like to tell Mark that he completely shortened my entry. You threw me for a loop, Mark. You threw me for a loop because you're like a recording, live and on the radio side right now, and you did not do that. Just saying, you did not. But welcome to the show, everybody. Right, here we go. I mean, it's like, what is that? Did you guys ever see The Big Bang Theory where she's trying to get Sheldon to not be OCD anymore? and she reads like nursery rhymes, and she won't let him finish it. That's what that was like for me right there. I was like,
Right now.
but there we go. Thank you very much. You just soothed my OCD. But guys, it's been a weird week, and it's interesting because I've been kind of in the chat. I've been updating all my panelists. I've been dropping different information because during the last week, another 2 scientists have been connected to this huge, weird happening of these people who work in aerospace disappearing or dying unexpectedly or very strangely, or and most of them, their bodies haven't even been recovered. They're just gone. Yeah, and they're all connected through aerospace programs and technology, and it's like, actually, the White House addressed it this week. That is the most interesting thing. The White House addresses it this week, but it's something deeper than that. A week and a half ago, I told you guys Nick Pope had passed away. Passed my condolences to his wife, who he actually moved here to the States to be with her. It was tragic. It was a big hit to the community, but we knew Nick had been diagnosed with cancer. He had made a public announcement about that. So at least we had some, I guess you could say we knew this was coming. We knew he wasn't going to come out of it. Still took a hit when he died. But then this weekend, Monday morning, right, an early Monday morning, actually it started early afternoon, started seeing some little rumors, little trippets that David Wilcox was gone. And those of us who know David and are aware of David's work, he's a very vibrant individual. He's very smart man, really intelligent guy. But not just that, he is big time spiritually aware. So, and I say that knowing what that is like, where he's not really, I don't think he's a denier of God, but he's not a real believer like Christianity and things as such. Somebody's got their speakers on. Rafi, hit mute.
He sees dead people.
There, he's not listening to me. Hit mute.
I muted him.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so, I mean, it was interesting because, David had actually done a podcast on Saturday.
Right now.
And he said some really interesting things in this podcast where he basically was saying, that God is within us and the Spirit is within us and never to forget these things. Like, it was weird. If he didn't show up for his next podcast to remember these things, it was almost like a farewell. And then he did a posting where he was saying he had some really, I guess, a very bad weekend is the best way to sum it up. But, things had a way of working out. It was just a very short blurb. And then next thing you know, his best friend is posting Monday afternoon saying that he's gone and that he had committed suicide per the reports. But the Denver Police Department, who were supposedly the police that responded, were refusing to release the name of the person, basically pending notification of family and friends, whatever. But it took them a good 48 hours to confirm that it was indeed David Wilcox, which it was, according to them. Again, the people that knew him are saying no. They're crying foul, 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 big time because of the way he was, who he was. And while I'll agree with people that sometimes suicide hides itself very well, those suicidal tendencies, they can really bury themselves really well. And sometimes the happiest person is actually the saddest person. These are psychological facts, but not really with David Wilcox. Yeah. Usually with somebody, and it is really strange, but it does kind of deal with intelligence in some ways. Usually with people who are at that level of intelligence, if there's a darkness or depression there, it is incredibly difficult for them to hide because their intelligence actually won't let them hide it. To them, it would be logical to just express whatever is at the top of their head. It did connect to actually Montauk, Long Island, and the Montauk Project. And it was really funny because, like I said, he was all about, I mean, if you ever watched what he did, what Dave actually did, he was all about like NG12, the Montauk Project. He talked about this stuff all the time.
Well, Nancy,
So, yes.
maybe he's. I just posted this at 8 o'clock. It was from American Patriot saying these 11 scientists that are missing. They're not missing. They've been extracted to Cheyenne Mountain. Maybe
Yep.
David's there. Maybe David's there.
It's either Cheyenne. It's either Cheyenne or Mount Weather.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. Everybody assumes Cheyenne. I think it's Mount Weather. I think they're all at Mount Weather.
It could be S4 also.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. I do agree with that, actually. I saw that posting, Vic. And I was going to say, I was going to lead into there because it is one of the, I guess you could say, theories as to what's going on because we have no bodies. We don't even have David Wilcox's body, okay? It hasn't been released. There's no body. And even if it is released, I'm going to do the whole John F. Kennedy Jr. question mark above my head. Yeah. How convenient. JFK and his wife and her sister's bodies were only in the ocean for a couple of days, but they were so bloated, there was absolutely no recognizability to any of it. How easy is it to fake these things? It is ridiculous. Yeah, it is. All you need is a coroner to sign off on a piece of paper, as we saw with Judge Scalia. I mean, if any of you all believe that Scalia actually died of a heart attack at his hunting lodge, you're an idiot. I'm just going to say that. You are completely retarded. The man was a Supreme Court justice who didn't have an autopsy performed and was never, ever declared dead by a doctor. So, yeah, there's problems with the whole damn story. And it doesn't really matter if a widow says, oh, leave us alone. I'm sorry. When you take on a political position of power like that, the right of the family to be left alone? Nope, out the window. You become basically national property. And the people of the nation deserve to know what happened. Scalia, you notice how nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. And that was straight up, completely, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was murdered. Just like I'm saying, it's crazy. You always know when something's wrong because the autopsies go wonky. I mean, everything disappears. It was like John F. Kennedy's assassination. All of the things supposedly extracted during the autopsy have disappeared. How does that happen? You don't lose a president of the United States' brain. That's how, what? What? We misplaced it. What? I mean, this is what I mean. And people are so stupid. Sure, they just, there's so many of them. Oh yeah, there's only 47 how many presidents have what was JFK? What number was he? 35? Let's think about that. So there were only 34 preceding presidents. I'm pretty sure they weren't extracting brains for the first few, at least. So that's only a couple of brains to really keep your eyes on. And you still couldn't do it. Okie dokie. Gotcha. I mean, I know it almost sounds disrespectful. But it's when you really sit back and look at what they're trying to sell you, it's like, how retarded do you think we are? I mean, really? Do you really think we're that stupid, or are we that stupid? Because it's really becoming a question at this point. Are we that stupid?
Not much you can do about it, unfortunately. I mean, other than what we're talking about tonight, I mean, you're bringing it up, so that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is I think that has also become, to me, that's almost like it's part of the game plan. That whole making people feel like, oh, what are we going to do about it? Well, what are we going to do? We can't rise up. We can't do this. Look what happened January 6th. That was the whole reason that happened on January 6th. So people would feel hopeless, not feel like they had a right to question their government. I mean, we pay for our government. Damn straight we have a right. They're not even, put it this way, they are like elected like CEO, COO. Those are the positions within government. We are the shareholders, which means they are accountable to us. Period. End of sentence. That's why when Barack Obama said, you didn't build that I built that. I was like, oh, let me just hold on a bit. I want to smack the spit out of the side of his mouth. Because really, because from what I can gather and the tracking I've done, your family wasn't even here when people were paying for that. So you didn't do any of it. So literally, oh, I get so mad. But again, we have been trained that we're not supposed to question it. We're even when they screw up and they tell us, like they straight up tell us, and I've been saying it for years. Ben Rich from Skunkworks, man, he has told us multiple things multiple times, and yet it still kind of gets ignored. They do tell us. It's just I don't even understand because somebody like John, Ben, literally his intelligence is up there. He was trusted. He worked within the black operations. So the guy was, what he was saying.
I got you, mommy. I got you.
Oh, what are you, Ralphie? You're talking into your mic.
Sorry. Squirrel attacked or attacked Tux.
He's dealing with the cats. Sorry about that.
I thought he got his mommy or something like that.
Molly. He was Molly. Molly. That's our little 1-year-old puppy, Miss Molly.
Is that who we hear breathing in the background?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little Miss Molly.
We're glad you're breathing. That's good. Keep breathing.
But I mean, literally, I get very frustrated. I get frustrated when, even with the shooting of Charlie Kirk, how quickly Americans move past things, how quickly they are to deny things that should be 100% questioned. I don't give a crap if the director of the FBI is saying, we're not questioning that. Well, I'm sorry, you got appointed there by, I don't know, us, and we pay your salary. So sit down, shut up, and unless something else is going on, which I have a big feeling there is, tell us what's up. Because now we have a bullet that doesn't match a rifle. We have a gunshot that killed him that should have blown the entire upper part of his body off if it was that rifle. I mean, literally, there should have been, but it was a miracle bullet. Oh, Erica, shut up. God almighty. Take off some of the makeup and shut up. Only a moron would believe that. Literally. And now you've got all of the connections starting to surface. And, again, they're not able to hide a lot of things. They're refusing, apparently the prosecutors refusing to turn over evidence to the defense.
Oh, was that right? Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, how is this happening? How is this working? What? And I keep thinking it's got to be leading to a gotcha moment. That's all I can think of. It has to. Because, again, too many people, I think, are actually following this now and are figuring it out. Candace Owens will not shut up. God love her for that. Because I don't think she's wrong. I do not think she's wrong. And I think Trump keeps telling everybody that her and Tucker and all these other people are idiots because he wants people who do not know things to listen to them. Honest to God. Because how does it work with that, with Trump? People hate him so much. Literally, both sides hate him so much at this point. Whatever he says, they do the exact opposite. So if he says, they're idiots, they don't know what they're talking about, they're going to be, oh, they must know what they're talking about. We need to go listen to them. Hey, thank you for putting them on the same page with the rest of us. Hey, good job. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Reverse psychology.
Well, like I said, now we have New York Jews actually protesting Israel in New York. God, you can't. What? How? All because they hate Donald Trump. It is amazing. It is truly amazing. But again, I always say it. Vicky, you know me. I'll hum my hymn. It has to be this way. It has to, because there's no other way you're going to get enough people on the same page to where people are actually seeing things for what they are.
Hum it, girl. Go ahead.
We may not like it. We may not like it. We may not. It makes it very hard to defend Donald Trump sometimes. Because again, people are like, well, no, he really is. He's evil. I'm like, No, he's really not evil. If he was,
No.
believe you me, if he was evil, he would have nuked the crap out of Iran months ago. He's playing a tap dance. We still are not boobs on ground in Iran, and we still haven't been nuked. What, do you think it's because Donald Trump is scared? No. No, it's because that was never the game plan. That's Israel's game plan.
Yeah.
But we literally have to get that dust out of there before Israel gets in there.
Right.
That is imperative because that dust has got to be traced.
Yes.
So again, people don't see it, and I know it's very hard to follow it. And if so many other things weren't manifesting that show me that, yep, this is actually really what's happening, I would be really embarrassed right now. But again, I'm seeing the fall of the big banks. That's happening faster and faster and faster. The Fed just got taken over again. It's folding. They're having to buy out oh my God, they're having to buy out the U.S. bonds bigly every month, like to the tune of ridiculous amounts of money. And people aren't even watching that. They're worried about what they're paying at the gas pump right now, which I want to smack people. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I'm like, dude, you are paying $4.80 under Joe Biden in Florida. $4.80. We haven't even come close to that. Okay, and we won't because we got a ton of oil sitting over in Texas and Louisiana right now. I mean, it's not the only reason you're paying what you pay is because of the World Bank and the world market because they're determining prices. Once they go down, that is no longer going to happen.
For the moment, yep. Yeah.
I mean, I said Trump is intentionally dividing people. He's doing it intentionally. Why? Because he needs division for the military to have to take control. Why would he want the military in control? And this is what scares most people. That's why you're seeing the dismissal of a ton of military leaders right now, including the Secretary of the Navy, who got dismissed today. And also the guy in charge of our nuclear arsenals got dismissed today. Why? Why do they have to go? Because if they are even slightly loyal or slightly connected to anything deep state or World Bank, this will never work.
Right.
The only military people we can have in there are people who are constitutionalists. And we may not like some of the end result of some of this because the Constitution is pretty well written and it's pretty direct. There's not a lot of wiggle room. But right now, you cannot put, like, everybody's like, well, make the arrests already. This is ridiculous. Well, really? Because who's going to try him? The corrupt court that made up charges against Donald Trump?
Exactly.
Really? The Supreme Court, who seems to think they're supposed to make law when that is nowhere in their definition?
Oh, they already made indefinite detention and assassination of U.S. citizens legal.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But that's under the NDAA, which is what? Not legal.
Right.
So again, there's a huge judicial problem. But right now, the NDAA, that's going to work in our favor until it gets found, once the military takes over and everything gets wiped out, then we can go back to what the Constitution should be. But at current moment, the NDAA is what's going to be able to arrest the Hillary Clintons, the frickin' Joe Bidens. That's what's going to be able to take them. But again, it's insanity. It is insanity. And there's no way out of it except through it. And again, people get mad at me when I say it, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
We can't all sit here and just jockey through it. We're going to have to live through it.
We have to do it right and by law.
Yep. And otherwise, Donald Trump is going to get hung. We're all going to be hanging each other. It's going to be chaos beyond chaos if it's not done this way. It really is.
I don't know. I think that the Second Amendment should be applied for at least a short period of time, just to kind of give this, this reminder that it's there for a reason.
Oh, I do not disagree. I do not. But again, you guys, most people still cannot figure out friend from enemy in this whole mess. They can't. They just don't see it. They do not see friend from enemy. So if we do Second Amendment, you could be, you just can't willy-nilly start shooting people. It's just, it can't work that way. It cannot. It's we'll lose, because then you have vigilante justice. It goes off the wall every damn time.
Well, we already are under the continuance of government with the military. I mean, they're in charge already.
And I got to tell you, you got to watch like Michael Flynn. These are the people you need to keep eyes on, because they are the people that are kind of telling you what is going on, realistically. I mean, even in their opinions, the way Mike Flynn writes things, he's telling you what's happening. So it's, like I said, there are certain people to keep your eyes on. Eric Prince is another one. And I've said that since day one. Vicky, you back me up on that. You've heard me say it a million times. Why? Because Eric Prince is like the Michael Flynn of private contracting. Okay? Michael Flynn did it on the national level, national security. Eric did it on the private level. But he did it under orders. He was ordered by the DOD. 3/4 of what he did overseas was under Clinton. It was under Bush. It was under Obama. He followed orders. His guys were given assignments. They were paid to do it. Mercenary, basically. But he's also the guy that I'm pretty sure has the Wiener laptop. And I'm pretty sure that is going to be surfacing within the next week to 2 weeks. So hang on to your hats when that happens, because that is going to be explosive. Yep. But with that, guys, I got to take us out to our first break. Hey, hold that, David. Hold it. We'll hit it when we come on. We'll be right back with the Vixen's Vault in just a few moments.
All right, we're on radio break.
What
I haven't heard that Wiener name in a long time. It's been years since I heard Anthony's name.
That is where Frazzle Drip is. Frazzle Drip is on the Wiener laptop.
Question. Where can I find that information about the Fed? I've got one more topic left for RPN, which I'm probably going to be doing not tonight, but probably tomorrow. I can probably add that in as a topic. In fact, it sounds like it would be a very interesting topic to add in.
You mean, are you talking about the guy who's taking over the Fed, or what are you talking about?
Well, you said it multiple things. The banks are collapsing.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, that's because we're buying we're buying ourselves out with money that doesn't exist. So yeah, it's bad. It is bad. What else? Oh, BP.
Money that can be printed rather than not exist. Money can always be created just like that.
And it was. I thought they get a fusion.
It's a number on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, well, if you could send me the link on.
Yep.
A few links to me, because I still got one slot left for RPN this week, so I can add it in. And also, wasn't I supposed to be doing an interview with you at some point?
Yes, as soon as we can get you on. It's kind of hard, because let me know like the week before when you can actually sit, just you as the interview, so I don't do other subject matter. I mean, if you want to talk on this show, we could do that. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I can give you some. It sounds like you already got a full slate. I mean, I can give you some updates on what's been going on with the separatist situation.
Cool.
Really frightening stuff occurred this week. Really dangerous stuff, which I will be covering on RPN. Again, either tomorrow, probably tomorrow. I can give you some updates on that stuff. I'm also, and this is because I was actually considering taking a break, but my actual, like the one that I do on specific on the Manosphere, I'm actually upping my activity level on that one. So
gotcha. Oh, God bless you to whoever sneezed.
Anyway, okay, so yeah, Esther's just been doing a direct sit down with you for the next 4 Wednesdays. I'm going to be working. I'm going to be on my work shift, so it probably won't happen until like May. I'm going to have to get through soon now.
Okay.
Nancy?
Yeah, okay. All right. Yes, sweetie.
Next Wednesday, John's going to be out, but Barry's going to be in. So if you want to be on standby to help him out, that'd be great.
Copy that. Just let me know.
I'll let Barry know.
Jesus
What's
and
the
UFOs.
what's the date? You know?
It's next Wednesday, so yeah, I
So
think he has to
9th.
do the 29th. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yep. That works for me.
He might not need you the whole show, but you know, I want to make sure that Barry doesn't normally cover him a whole show.
Okay.
So
I gotcha.
I want to make sure that he's good to go.
He did
All
pretty
right.
interesting though
30
on his
seconds.
last show. See that?
What's that?
Did you see the last show he did? He actually talked about Jesus and UFOs. That was
Yeah.
That's an
He
easy
sure
thing to
does.
do.
Yeah, and then
not for
and
him.
then he went into L.A. Marzulli stuff. So okay. Anyways, here's your countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're back live and on the radio side right now.
And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Vixen's Vault. The time is 9:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Today's date is April the 22nd, 2026, and it is getting wild and woolly. Did I not promise you guys it would? I told you it was going to. It's going to keep going. The pressure's going to keep building till it finally pops. But I'm kind of good with that because I'm kind of tired of just, for the last decade or so, probably more, I've just been kind of watching this country eat away at itself and wondering when people are going to really start asking questions. It's one thing I never understood about Americans. We are bold as hell. We are known as the cowboys of the world for a friggin' reason. It's because we're mouthy. We have big mouths. We really do. We tend to not mingle well with polite society. And
rebels.
Well, that's gone though. Those days are. Look at we have women who wear vaginas on their head. We have people protesting immigration with dildos. That is what's happened to this country. And I am not playing. Like, on national TV, national news, you're watching a bunch of weirdos waving giant floppy dildos at an immigration protest. Like, what? Okay, so we know you're mentally not quite there. That's great. Thank you for telling us that again. But I mean, this is what I mean. This is what we've come to, rather than asking important questions. Like, well, honestly, what could we do? Well, there's never been a question of
mind.
Yes, well, not just reprobate. It's not just reprobate. It's 0 to a million. These people don't hit 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the digits between 0 and 1 million. They go 0 to a million in 1 second. Like, even the immigration issue. I can't remember the last time I heard a politician, anybody, say, let's have an honest conversation about what's really broken here. Because it's not just the border. It's the courts. The courts in the immigration system are a hot mess. They are backed up by 7 or 8 years. I mean, so how is that fair to the people who are trying to get in legitimately? It is a mess. It is a mess.
You heard about the files that were withheld with Epstein, right?
Oh yeah, we know there's Epstein files withheld.
Over a million.
Absolutely.
Over 1 million files withheld.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, is that
and
right?
Trust me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like the Kennedy. Well, it's like the Kennedy assassination files. There's still 300,000 of them that have not been released. I mean, and they won't be until the time is right. They will not be.
So all the players are dead.
No, it's not. It's not all the players.
No, you're looking at national security issues. You're looking at not only internally in the US, but especially with Epstein, but also countries like Britain and France and other countries as well. So there are a sort of large national security issue with Epstein, especially.
They just took down the prince, didn't they?
Well, here's the thing. It is a national.
Sorry, I was just going to say potentially taking down Keir Starmer anytime soon, maybe.
But it wasn't. That's not what the prince was charged with. I think you guys are mistaking what they got him on. It had nothing to do with the Epstein files. That's what caused the public outcry. But it was like a bait and switch. They don't tell people, oh, he didn't lose his crown because of Epstein.
He was just giving
no.
over for blackmail. That was all that was.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with Epstein.
Yep. And the same with Starmer. What they're going after him for, it doesn't have to do with Epstein, really. I mean, but again, I'm waiting.
Related is Peter Mandelson, due to Peter Mandelson's links to Epstein.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's sort of tangent. Yeah.
And whether or not he was bought off, that's actually the big question. Was he bought off? Which he was. They all were. But again, if there's reasons some of the files are being held back.
And it all goes back to Maxwell.
It goes back to Maxwell. It goes back to Israel. It goes back to so many things. Same thing with the Kennedy files that are held back. They point at, and Robert Morningstar was telling us last week. I told y'all I'm not wrong. I know I'm not wrong. I mean, it's there in black and white. You just have to go look for it. But again, people don't want to hear it. Like, I get in an argument, and Ralphie will back me on this. There's a person on Facebook that I argue with on a daily basis, pretty much, over Israel. And because he's a Christian, he's a very staunch Christian. He's actually a great person, and I do not take that away from him. But he's a very proud Christian Zionist, and I'm like, he said something today about the angels that visited the Muslims in Muhammad that said it was Gabriel was actually a demon. I'm like, really? You're what? So, okay, so if we're going to follow that train of thought, then the angel that visited the Virgin Mary in the Bible was also probably a demon, because you can't say that about one religion and not say it about another.
I call them good.
You
demons.
cannot.
I call them good demons. People don't like, even with Joan of Arc. I think that it wasn't. Just like with John D, I think they were good demons rather than.
Well, I think John D, because John D is, you can actually track the Enochian language through John D. I would love to do a full show on that, because he's a very cool character to actually dig into. It's very, very intelligent. Oh God, was he intelligent. But what was really cool is that he was like a real oracle to Queen Elizabeth. And people don't realize that. He was like her sage, pretty much.
He was the one hidden down in the basement.
Yep. I mean, and this isn't a time where, I mean, it would be like being gay in Iran. Okay, that's the time period we're talking about. Okay, it just, saying things like what John D was saying was like, you would be completely dismembered and your body would be dragged to the four corners of the country just for even saying something close to that. But for some reason, Elizabeth sheltered him.
Well, and they were very superstitious during that time.
He was also the actual 007, though.
Yes.
Yep. He was actually what people would call a 6.
Him and Walsingham, man. Walsingham was like, he was a real badass. He really was a badass. I mean, he took up, like, in fact, Game of Thrones, I always thought of Littlefinger, and what was the other guy's name? The heavyset eunuch. Forget his name, but those two reminded me of Walsingham. Like, if you put those two characters together, that was a Walsingham with all the spies everywhere. Everybody was getting paid to talk about everybody. And again, then I go back to, it was probably like the birth root of the Mossad. They probably took all their lessons from these people, because these people made an art of it. And I'm not joking, because a lot of the methodologies of the CIA, of the Mossad, you can see those little indicators in there, where it's like, yeah, wait, isn't that kind of goes back to like the Elizabethan court and prior. So it's like, it's kind of funny. But again, it is what it is, and it's weird how it all ties in, but I'm telling you, everything that we're seeing, it does tie together. And it ties together pretty obviously in many ways. I think that, again, they're pushing the UFO disclosure. Why? Because, again, I think a lot of stuff is going to get revealed, a lot, and there's going to be there's going to be a lot of explaining to do if those documents surface before there's a soft landing.
Me and
To get the tech out, they have to explain it.
The UFO thing on Friday, and my conclusion was it's just a distraction for big issues.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We've got.
It can be used that way,
Well, Trump
like you
did a
Blue Beam, but
did a speech in front of Charlie Kirk's group, and he told him, like, scoffingly, he's like, "Yeah, those UFO files are coming out big time," and he's like, "Because I know you guys are really into all that." Like, and for me personally, if I was in the audience, I'd have been offended by it. You know what I mean? Because he was basically calling everybody who was associated nothing but UFO psychos, some shit. Then the thing of it is it's like now all of a sudden he wants to talk about UFOs. Comes to freaking stuff going on. Iran, you know. It seems to me too like it is actually a distraction. Things haven't been going the way he planned it. It's supposed to be 5 days in and out, and now it's going on 9 weeks.
Well, again, though, you have to understand, and you got to watch what's happening.
He's clenching his butt cheek.
Even CNN can't lie about some of the stuff that's happening over there, like with Iran. They keep saying there's a problem here because there's other factions within the government that are giving orders, that are not the people in charge.
It's
a problem.
You mess with any country but Iran, okay? Iran. Anybody who thought they could go in and defeat Iran in 5 days is an idiot, okay? You just don't mess with.
I don't think it was ever. I don't think it was ever about defeating Iran. That's not what Trump was doing, and it's not what he is doing. That's exactly it.
He's wanting total defeat. That's why he has the blockade. Is to
he wants the uranium dust. He wants the Khomeini administration out. He wants the uranium dust. He wants the Mossad moles uprooted. He wants it gone because that is what's causing a lot of the problems over there, and he knows that.
It's called total defeat. Okay, to get rid of everybody you're talking about, it has to be a complete new regime.
All right.
Agreed. Agreed. The evidence. You got to have the evidence.
He's not going to get that. He's not going to get that from Iran. I'm sorry, but Iran, they literally fought Iraq against chemical warfares. They walked into chemical warfares and killed themselves. Okay,
but was it? But my question is, yes, the people will. But people are stupid. People follow their leaders because they think they're leaders. But people follow their leaders because they believe their leaders are doing what's best for them. What happened with Iran is they got infiltrated. The Shah went down. Okay, the Khomeini regime took control. But it wasn't just the Khomeini regime. And that's what people do not understand. It's like you can trace it back. There were Mossad agents at the very beginning in the Khomeini regime.
Yeah.
You have.
Stupid. I went to see Iran.
You got to point out
I disagree. You look at the so-called civil war. That's happening.
Even ISIS, people will still sit there and tell me, I can't stand it. ISIS are rebellion. They're a bunch of extremists. I'm like, they were CIA and Mossad. Yes. And we even told you that. It's called Operation Timber Sycamore. Go look it up. I mean, we did that.
I still say that they were associated with neocons because the moment freaking Donald Trump started doing his bombings, they vanished, okay? And these were people that were fighting tooth and nail, took over most of Iraq and took over freaking Nineveh and was all.
They didn't vanish.
They're planted by.
They didn't vanish. It's just that U.S. news wasn't reporting on them. Just because you aren't reporting on them doesn't mean that they disappeared.
Well,
so
according to mainstream media, they were annihilated. They were no longer They were no longer functioning. They bombed them twice. I think it was twice or 3 times, and that was it. They were gone. Finished.
Okay, all right.
Don't
But
listen to mainstream media.
Yeah, I know. I know.
it's well, and you guys got to kind of learn to kind of read between things too. Like even the name Timber Sycamore. Who was Timberwolf?
Oh God.
Who was the Secret Service code name for Timberwolf? It was George Bush. It was George Bush Sr. So again, you can connect dots here. You can connect them. You can see who is doing what. And we all know George Bush Sr. was running the show for a long time, and he's not a good person.
No, he isn't.
He was not a good person at all.
I still say that even during Trump's when he was running for president, that all was staged. Like the whole finger across the throat. I look back at that in hindsight now, and I'm like, dude, that was all just all that.
I think a lot of this stuff is theater. That's what I don't understand that people aren't seeing. A lot of this is freaking theater. A lot.
When he was inaugurated, you see the JAG, representatives up there next to him. I mean,
yep.
Or how they had the Marines turn their back on Biden when he was in there. It was like, it's good.
Well, and again, people aren't explaining other things, like when Hillary Clinton collapsed and got dragged. Where was that? 2018 in New York City, completely collapsed and got completely dragged away, not gently at all. And within 2 hours, she reappears, and it was not her. I mean, if you look at that picture and you look at her, you're like, yeah, no. What did she de-age by 30 years after collapsing? What? No. I mean, how stupid are people that they accept that, or they just don't want to know the answers? And I think that is probably the correct answer. So they don't want to know.
So you think Hillary Clinton is a clone?
I don't know if she's a clone. I think there's a lot of things that have happened. I think she may have. I've said this again. I'm going to say it again. I think at the end of all this, she may be one of the people that walks away, because I think she went state's witness. I'm pretty sure Hunter Biden went state's witness. I think there's a lot more going on here that people understand. I think you're seeing traps set left and right to out people. And it's like, you can't deny it. The public is now aware that Ted Cruz is a complete, pretty much walking Israeli sponsorship.
Well, I mean, he had to do that. That was part of his plea deal. I'm sure whatever he puts out there is part of his plea deal, because he's committed treason. And so if they tell him to say that, he will. And Hillary has been long gone. It's just, they don't talk about central casting, lightly.
Or Castle Rock. Central casting, Castle Rock. There's so many.
Yeah, that's been a while.
So many things.
And even your dearly beloved, Trump is, how many of them are there? Are there 7? I mean, really, seriously, how could any one man do all that he does?
Well, they never look the same. Even I know that. I look at pictures and I'm like, what the hell? Is that them adjusting him to make him look like a fat orange again? Or is that actually, and what am I looking at right now? Because that's not Donald Trump. And a lot of times I'll look and I'll be like, that's his freaking brother. That's the brother that supposedly died, because it looks just like him.
Yeah, or Biden. I mean, how did people Biden? I mean, he looks so different. I don't understand it. How did people not question this?
Age does wonderful things to people. The older you get, the older you look.
But it doesn't change certain things. It doesn't change your ear shapes. It doesn't change certain things, dude. And it's discernibly different. Discernibly. But that is why we were warned, be careful of what we saw, what we read, because AI and the current technologies can change anything visually on the screen while you're watching. It could be a live feed and they can still alter it drastically. And it can be very realistic.
And it's not going to get better. I mean, it's so good that, we're not going to be able to tell.
I don't think we've been able to tell for a while. Honest to goodness. I just don't. I don't. I literally, I don't listen to pretty much anybody anymore. I do listen to Tucker, because I think Tucker is dead on. I do listen to Candace Owens, and I'm like, you know what? Sing it, sister. You know, you may have done things in the past that people didn't agree with, but it doesn't mean she's incorrect, because the things that she is saying, she's backing herself up.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you know what? And you're right. There was a big problem with the Charlie Kirk shooting. It does not match what they told us. It doesn't match what we saw. Raphael and I were watching it. Like, it was live.
Well,
I mean, it's like, oh, God.
You know, when you were
The whole
talking,
thing with the gun, for starters.
yeah.
It just, and you got to understand, Raphael he's a firearms instructor. He knows his weapons inside, outside, upside down, and he's just shaking his head going, they're really not. No, come on.
30-06. That thing wasn't even at full speed when it hit him at 200 yards.
No, it would have blown him, and not only that, it would have hit somebody behind him.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
or something.
Yeah, and the
But no,
spine stopped the bullet.
His neck.
What
Not
did I hear?
just the spine, but the most narrow part of the spine besides the tailbone, the neck. You know, it's like, oh yeah, no, we're not believing that. Oh, it was a magic bullet, and then they used the JFK phrase, the magic bullet.
Well, you know,
And I'm like,
Well, you
know what,
the bullet ended up.
Because
that's all.
They said they recovered. What they said was the bullet in his spinal column up near in his neck, his vertebrae. So him, a 30-06 at close range.
If it passed through 4 inches of wood or something, maybe we get a chunk of the bullet. But
that thing would have blown. It would have blown a hole or a big dent in steel.
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
that range.
But you know what, Nancy, you were an EMT for now. The problem that I had was Charlie's blood was black.
Yep. Yes, I said it that day.
I've never seen black blood. I mean,
it's the wrong color. Oh God! I'm like, whoever's mixing the blood for this production, you know, half the shootings it's too red. It's way too bright. I'm like, that is not what human blood looks like once it's hit oxygen. And then the Charlies looked like it was demonic, like it was black. I'm like, what? Did he have some kind of weird blood disease?
It looks like
I pointed this out last time when we spoke about this. This could be just a technical issue with cameras and lights and blurbs.
All the cameras, including the cell phone video?
No, it would not.
All the cell phone videos were black.
Well, you guys were just talking about David Hancock, right? Oh.
Yep. Wilcox.
Wilcox. Yeah, if you guys go back in time and you check out his stream that was just before J6, the night before January 6th, you'll find something that's pretty interesting there too, because like you guys have been people disappearing and everything. He actually made a statement that sounded pretty weird the night before January 6th happened. He said that big things are going down and he couldn't say nothing because he has insiders. Bam, the next day, all that stuff happened.
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so January 6th, if we're talking about the same event, you forget, Ralphie and I were there. We were boots on ground.
I'm saying check the night before with Hancock, and you'll see the video.
Well, when we got separated, and I was trying to triangulate my way back to the hotel, which was a hot mess. But I think I was getting some texts, and I was watching the strands, and I knew. Ralphie will tell you. I told him when he got back, they cloned 12 different laptops, and they got Pelosi's laptop. So we definitely knew that this was and I believed it was a military thing. These were not Anons that did this. These were, in fact, there weren't that many Anons there that day because Q had told us to stay clear, or if we did go, not to do anything stupid. So I mean, basically, the QAnon shaman I have not laughed that hard in a long time because none of us knew who he was. None of the Anons knew who he was. We were like, who's that dude? Dude, you know him? Do you know him? No, who is that? He had nothing to do with the Anon community, not the actual like 8chan Anon community, or 4chan actually. He was just kind of like came out of nowhere, and I'm like, that's a plant. That is definitely a plant to make everybody look absolutely insane. Great, good job. But I mean, they kept saying QAnon. The press kept saying QAnon, the QAnons, the Q. There's no such animal as a QAnon, and we have said that for 9 years. There is no such thing as a QAnon. There's Q and there are nons, and that is it. So if you're going to refer to people, you refer to them as Anons, not QAnons. That's not what they are. And the press knew that. So again, to me, that is a show. That is something pre-planned, well-planned, and it's a show. And Ralphie and I definitely saw military personnel there that day in regular clothing. Well, as close as they could get to regular.
I think I had an FBI agent actually approach me that day.
I know you did.
I thought it was one of them.
Well, babe, you were giving water to the idiot that fell off the side of the Capitol.
Yeah.
I think I broke my ankle. I actually have that video. The guy's like, I think I broke my ankle. Oh my God.
I'm just hoping that all of this is done soon because, I mean, hopefully at the end of it, at least 95%, if not all of our government and people in power are given the guillotine. That Israel looks like Gaza, and that Iran has routed out the Mossad and the CIA and the British and everybody else, and let them, live their own peaceful lives. This, it's just.
I would be okay if Israel was actually given to the true Israelis. That would not bother me at all, because what's in there right now, the Zionists are not true Israelis. They are not.
Well, get rid of the Zionists. That's the point. I mean, it's giving territory to other people that weren't there before, or have no commonality with the indigenous people that were there. That's never worked. I mean, it's 3/4 of the reason why we have so much strife in the world, because the British and the United States knew what they were doing. Anytime they took over a country and they rewrote the lines, they made sure that there was enough diversity in there in order for nobody ever to be, basically homogenized, to create their own culture, their own strong society. They wanted a lot of division. They wanted all that infighting so that they can control it from afar.
Robbie, I got to stop you. I got to take us out on break. I just looked at the time.
Break.
All right, hang in there, guys. I was going to say, we're going to lose it in a moment. Hang in there, guys. We'll be back with the Vixen's Vault in just a few minutes.
Yep.
All right, we're going to lose this room any second now. All right.
Sorry.
I'm going to just go ahead and hang up now.
All right.
All right, and...
Okay, give it a second. They usually have to take a moment to...
I would be okay if Israel was actually given to the true Israelis. That would not bother me at all, because what's in there right now, the Zionists are not true Israelis. They are not.
Well, get rid of the Zionists. That's the point. I mean, it's giving territory to other people that weren't there before, or have no commonality with the indigenous people that were there. That's never worked. I mean, it's 3/4 of the reason why we have so much strife in the world, because the British and the United States knew what they were doing. Anytime they took over a country and they rewrote the lines, they made sure that there was enough diversity in there in order for nobody ever to be, basically homogenized, to create their own culture, their own strong society. They wanted a lot of division. They wanted all that infighting so that they can control it from afar.
He was escorted out of the Pentagon yesterday, by the way, and put on indefinite leave. But
Oh
before
my
the
God.
press gets a hold of it and starts saying that it was because he refused to nuke Iran, no, that's not why he was relieved. He was relieved because he was caught on undercover video spilling sensitive national security information to a woman he met at a restaurant.
Yeah, that's the one. I didn't get a chance to read the article. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I talked to Sonia in between, and she can't come in, but she said David would never do that.
Yep, I know he wouldn't. I know.
I
know.
I'll tell you what. If you just go watch the video, that's all. I don't have to say nothing. It's fact.
Yep.
It's actually on the video. And David Wilcock, also one of the people who was going before court and telling people that he was reading the script for freaking Goya.
Yep.
Well, see, a lot of people forget. Not only did he have contact with Corey Good, but Emery Smith.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right. And Emery, every time I look at him, I say plant.
Yes. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that until the end of the frickin' until Totem Full Moon frickin' is actually produced.
Totem pole.
Totem pole.
I don't know if David's actually dead either, though. I think he may have been taking him out. Whether I think there's a group of them that have been taking him out. Whether I really don't think it's.
He's been
I don't think it's.
I guarantee.
I don't think it's Cheyenne.
He's been disappeared. Mm-hmm. If anything, he knows something
Well, I'm not
that
sure
he
it's
isn't
good.
supposed
to. Is he any way connected with what that general and the other stuff?
Yes.
Assistant.
So, his job was. Yep.
You know, you might want to play connect the dots when we come back on that, because not a lot of people have talked about that part.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I was
feedback from somebody.
Nancy brought it up last week with the picture there with the 11 missing, and now the 12th one took it today. The 12th one.
Well, not just that. Like I said, I mean, I mentioned it when we came on the air that he was the head of aerospace technology.
Okay. Here's another thing too that we're going to need to watch too. Numbers, because everything works in numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't know if Naroki's still with us, but Naroki, I dropped the U.S. banks currently facing unrealized losses of $306 billion, and I also dropped the article about Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chief.
Okay, that would be on Teams, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
There in the chat.
And our money has to be clean too.
Welcome to the central bank CDBCs.
No, see, I seriously think this is all connected with BRICS as well. This is a finance war going on between the IMF and BRICS.
UFS.
Nancy, we are going to need to cut out right at the 55 mark. So, because, yeah.
I'll keep an eye out.
You came in early?
No, that's about what time we normally leave out, but I mean, it's not going to let us go much. I mean, we can say our quick goodbyes right after we leave air, but that'll be about it. All the time we have on this deal here.
Oh, hey, one last thing, Nancy. The next available date where I have a Wednesday free is May 27th.
Okay. Why don't we plan it for like then, so we have an actual solid date?
Yeah, and
rather than winging it.
And how long does your show run? Is it an hour or is it 2 hours?
It's 2 hours.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'll get a hold of you at some point in the next 4 weeks, and we'll break it up into segments, because I don't have my finger in a bunch of them, but I have 3 specialties. The third one is because I live in Alberta. So, and yeah, if you want an update on what's been going on here at some point today, before the show ends, just let me know. In the meantime, I'm just going to sit back and listen. I'm just going to be playing Civ while you guys talk. So,
well, what I think I'm going to do is when we come back in, I'm going to have Rafi finish out what he was saying, and then if we can segue over. But I also just dropped into the chat about David Wilcock's biographer, Winfrey, who died 2 days before David supposedly committed suicide.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Nope.
How did he die?
Oh my God.
Or
And
how
that
did-
is verifiable.
Yeah. What was the report? How did he die?
Suicide. They said he blew his head off
Yeah.
in front of an officer.
Sorry, I'm talking of the biographer.
Oh, I haven't looked up how Winfrey died yet. In fact, hold on, because I know that is actually confirmed.
There's just something fishy about all that when it comes to Wilcox, because he knew way too much.
Wilcox.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did.
Son,
I
I'll
agree.
get mad at you, Roger. It's Wilcox,
I keep calling him Hancock. Don't.
not Hancock, and
Oh,
not Cox.
Oh,
No.
Cox. Wilcox is what you mean.
Wilcox.
Well, it's Wilcox if you're referring to it as something he's possessing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he did or didn't.
And it would be Will Cock if he was the adult performer.
Oh, this is just getting bad fast.
All right, now we're getting into Mark Edworthy's territory over there where they have pubs called Mark Edworthy's territory over there where they call pubs the Cock and Pullet. But anyways.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Different sort of cost.
So okay, right. Anyways. You crazy Brits. I don't know about you guys.
Okay.
Smoke another one for me there, Mark.
Will they?
Whoo!
You know what I don't understand. When I was in high school, of course that was 60 years ago, we used to know when they used to tell us when our national debt was the interest on the debt. Okay, so I'm thinking if we're 38 trillion in debt, so is that the interest or is that the actual debt? Because I thought we were 200 trillion in debt.
30 seconds.
I don't know.
Good question, though. Nobody understands it. Keynesian economics. Welcome to the world of nobody understanding anything.
Well, you have to listen to
sense.
Censorship Sucks show so that he can tell you all about economics and crap like that since he worked over at the exchange at one of them.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're live and on the radio side right now.
10:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Wednesday, April the 22nd, 2026. Welcome back to the show. I'm going to actually let Ralphie finish out what he was saying if he remembers where he was at because I had to cut him off so abruptly. I looked down at the time and went, oh, dear God. Ralphie, you want to finish up what you were saying? Ralphie, you're muted.
All right, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you hear me now? No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding. So, yeah, no, anyway, so what I was talking about is the empire, the Anglo-American empire has always been about a strategy of tension. When they redraw the lines of territories, they make sure that they have enough diversity in there so that no one group can solidify power in the given territory. Because let's just say like you look at the Iraq, Iran, Syria. In there you also have what was the Kurds? I think it was. And then
that's Iraq.
Division.
Yep.
Yeah, you have the division between the Sunnis and the Shiites and so on and so forth. Those people already have territories that they occupy on their own. I mean, they once you start clustering them into, basically just throwing them all into one pot and declaring this is the government now, and they're going to tell you how you're going to live your life. Well, yeah, that rubs people the wrong way. That's be like the Chinese coming in here and dividing us up and saying, okay, now we're gonna, you're gonna answer this one government, but it's going to be, they're going to be run by DEI, drag queen story time people, and you don't have a say in it. But that's so that no region becomes too independent and too centered on their let's say their cultural values, the things that bring them together. It's the reason why they want to break up the United States and into regions and have regional governors, because they don't want to have any United States. They want to break up anything that will cause the people to tribalize, to become tribal. They want to break everybody down into individuals. They don't even want nuclear family units. They're trying to make people as weak as possible so that they can take control. The weaker and more divided that they can make us, the more control and strength they have. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
That's why I said with Trump that he was trying to divide us. So the segue for the military is that much simpler and that much easier for them. And I hate the thought of it, but I understand the logic of it. Now, on the other side of that, when you were saying it would be like China coming over here, I got to tell you, Ralphie, the first image in my head was Red Dawn. And I'm picturing Patrick Swayze all sweaty with the blood and the mud. And then I thought, and then I think about today's society, and I'm like, oh my God, it would be Rainbow Dawn. Really? Oh, that's why they did this. Everybody would have their rainbow bright hair. Don't save
To
it.
use a cliche, diversity is our strength.
See, Red Dawn is actually the kind of thing that they want America to visualize. That's the kind of thing they're wanting to bring back when it conservative, which is actually national thing that out of other countries going to invade us. Like Invasion USA with Chuck Norris. Remember that one?
Yep.
It's the countries always just because again, both in Europe and in the USA, serious issues with immigration at this present moment. So, is it countries per se?
It's
or is it
propaganda. Pushing the
propaganda. Put it this way: we are at greater risk of infiltration, not invasion, and we always have been. But they've always kept our eye on invasion rather than infiltration. That was the game plan. That's what Roger's trying to say. They wanted us, always on that lookout, the head on the swivel for like parachutes coming out of the sky at us.
Yeah.
And what was actually happening is they were making their way over the border and being allowed in. It was infiltration, not invasion.
And trust me, I loved freaking Red Dawn. But I can tell you 100% propaganda.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, so much is propaganda movies, and like I said, I actually enjoy the comedy-based ones, like some of the ones about what was it called, The American Presidents. It's an old movie. Jack Lemmon was in it. I was peeing my pants laughing at this movie because these guys were both. It showed these two ex-presidents, and they're in a plane crash, and they have to find their way back to people, and they're bickering and arguing about the pettiest things, and their egos are like huge, and I laughed through the whole movie because to me that's actually probably very close to reality, being very honest. But on the other side of that, I think we do have to have national pride in some way, shape, or form. But national pride does not mean ego, and that's what it's become. It's no longer a pride of I'm an American. It's an ego of I'm an American. And it's not about we're Americans, we're generous, we're this, we're good people. It's about we're Americans, we're going to crush your head.
Well, that's it.
It shouldn't be that way.
That's it. I mean, the thing is, I don't know how many of my friends, granted, they're all mostly military and law enforcement, but they've got this mindset that somehow military might is what makes America's great, and it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. At least it's not supposed to be. We used to be the shining light on the beacon, the shining light on the hill, the beacon of hope. But now we're just the Eye of Sauron, and everybody's terrified of us. And I think the metric by which we measure our greatness should be measured in quality of life, moral values.
Yep.
There's a movie called Newsroom, I think it was, and Jeff Bridges is on the stage, and they ask him, what makes America great, and he goes through this tirade about how we're dropping so low on STEM, on longevity, the value, sorry guys, I'm so tired. I'm just having problems just putting everything together. But my point is that we have been conditioned since the expansionist era. Our entire history had been like that. This whole idea of manifest destiny and how we're just going to take shit from the Indians and the Mexicans and everything else to expand out this country from coast to coast. This idea that we're going to use military might to get what we want is not new. This is the history of this country, and I think it's horrible. When I look back at it as for what it is, I think it's absolutely horrendous.
Well, if I do find it interesting, because I'm going to show you a dividing line that most people don't think about, but if you read it, I'm historically correct. Before the push for the Fed, before the push for militarization, when we were run by like the captains of industry, whether we like it or not, whether we thought they were gypped or not, they paid for the land. Like they traded with the Indians for the land. They paid them for the land. It was when the military got involved that there were big problems because they were just taking the land and giving it to the settlers and just shoving the Indians onto reservations. But when it was the captains of industry, they were doing moderate trade. They were trading out for the land. Now, granted, they gypped the crap out of them, but it was still an effort. It was a giving rather than a taking. And I look at like Israel, and I don't understand how people who defend their actions can say it's okay for them to just move into other people's territories and because they need room, they need to expand, they need more settlements, and just kick people who have been living in the houses for like hundreds of years out with no compensation, no ability to really get jobs over there because over there everything is restricted. Wow. If you actually knew the laws in Israel, you would freak. I mean, it's crazy how absolutely they treat the Arabs in their communities. I mean, and the Christians. It's not just. I'm not going to even say Muslims and Christians because it is the Arabs. It's horrendous. They're not even second-rate citizens over there. So it's like, but people want to believe something different, and I don't understand it.
Something that reminded me of. You said the US, the idea of the shining city on the hill. Then, but I'm just remembering that when it comes to foreign policy, especially since World War II, the US has not been overly successful at anything.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
But the Constitution is what set us apart from the rest of the world.
See, we were actually the streets paved in gold. People all over Europe seeing the United States as
the Union.
But the thing happened. One thing happened was immigrants started coming into New York, and they didn't like the way the Irish and the Brits were setting up gangs. That caused issues. Set up that night, start pushing a federal immigration policy. It was the first socialist movement, or one of the first. Took power away from the states and gave it to. Okay. And from that point on, people freaking came to the United States and followed such policy that went by the federal government. By each. That's what it was originally. And then if you want to look at you want to look at history, get homesteaders.
Yep. I know. I know.
So look at the right-of-way laws.
Yep. Oh yeah.
They did horrible things. Just the Indian settlers, people, and that's their whole plan. Their whole plan is to get people to do stuff and then take it away.
Well, I think that's a large reason why people try to defend the Jews, because our own history reflects what they're doing now, and it assuages their guilt. Go ahead. Sorry, babe. Go ahead.
It's not just that. I mean, Mark Edworthy made a really good point on the timeline, and I got to point that out. Post World War II, Mark, why do you think that is? Post World War II, the UN was formed, the State of Israel was formed. Okay? And literally, it became a total world socialist network as to everything that was happening, except we footed the bill for it all. And I just don't understand how people thought that was going to be economically feasible long term. We can't pay for everybody and everything. All the people here suffer to do that, and I'm not playing. I mean, we've got a lot of problems over here. People cannot get health care. When you do get health care, they're poisoning you to death. I mean, it is not good.
To be
And
fair,
yet we've done it.
the deal was not only the US, but a lot of Western countries, a lot of European countries, especially Britain and France and Germany. Yeah. Well, maybe.
But who do you think was giving the U.S. the loans to do what they needed to do? What do you think the Fed is consistent of, Mark? The Fed
IMF.
itself, at its best, no, my love, no. It traces back to the Bank of England. Almost every single bank within the Fed has got Bank of England roots.
Mm-hmm.
So we are still paying the masters of England. We have been for generations.
Yep.
Funny enough,
and all
earlier
that money is
you
from
were talking about
IRS going to
national grid.
England.
Funny
Say
enough,
that again?
To whom?
Okay. Just the points you were talking about the national, the U.S. National Grid. The U.S. National Grid PLC is actually a British company.
Mm-hmm. Well, even your British Petroleum
and your U.S. companies, or multiple companies, are just subsidiaries of the British.
Yep. But here's the fun part, Mark. When you actually trace who runs the companies and who owns the companies, it doesn't go back to British people. Or it's British Jews, or American Jews, or Israeli Jews. I mean, it's crazy.
Actually, as far as France is concerned, companies like EDF, another energy supplier, which has got connections to.
But where do they all go under?
A large percentage of is owned by the French government, which is topping up really pensions.
But there's also one other thing you got to look at. There are three oversight companies to almost every major industry in the world. Do you know what they are? BlackRock, Blackstone, and Vanguard.
Blackstone
okay.
And BlackRock are subsidiary.
They're the same. I always say it's the same. Literally, it's the same tree. The two apples came out of the damn same tree. The only reason they divided the company from Blackstone into Blackstone and BlackRock was to avoid antitrust laws. Okay, literally, they did it in the early '90s. Blackstone went more into marketing and real estate. BlackRock went into portfolios. They are literally between the two companies. You're talking trillions upon trillions of dollars in assets. I mean, even Lloyd's Bank, they are all under BlackRock. They are all completely beholden to BlackRock investors. Who do you think runs BlackRock? Who do you think Larry Fink is? Look up his history. I'm not joking. Look at, so who?
He's a space alien. That's my stand, but I'm going to hold that to the stand. He wears makeup. He's a space
I just laugh at people because I'm like, well, number one, let's just think of his name, Larry Fink. First time I read it, I was like, this guy really walked around his whole life with that name. He got called Fink. What?
But then Finkelstein.
But then you got to look at, where does he? Yes, he claims to be an American. I mean, he claims to come from San Francisco, California. But guess what? Guess who he's beholden to? Israel. Let's all gasp. Let's all gasp now because we are all super surprised by that information. And no, I'm not anti-Semitic, but I am a person that says there's a big problem when one itty-bitty little country the size of Rhode Island gets literally $63 million a month from the United States of America, plus all the contract money, plus all the kickbacks from their loyalists, plus all the blackmail material, plus all of our freaking intelligence. You name it, they're into it. That is seriously problematic. There's no way that is safe for national security, not for the American people at least. Perhaps those who are being bribed, blackmailed, and everything else, it's safe for them, but it sucks for the American people.
And it's all tied to the Rothschild banks.
Yep. I mean, and let's look at who owns. Well, let's look who owns Blackstone, which is, I mean, you all got to understand, Blackstone is invested up to the umpteenth degree in the development of Gazan real estate to the tune of ridiculous amounts of money. That's Blackstone. Guess who runs Blackstone? Oh, I don't know, a guy by the name of Steven Schwartzman. Let's just think of what kind of name that is. You can't make this up.
No,
and it's the same thing with Vanguard. It's what the holy hell is happening, Batman? I mean, it is
When you
nuts.
say Ron, you mean Daily Ron. I believe he's the CEO. Therefore, he's
Correct.
the daily operation.
He is at the top of the list. And it's like I said, it's Mark, you cannot you can't say that there wasn't a plan of action here. When all the money traces back to one origination, one itty-bitty little group of people. I mean, we're talking a couple million people, if that. All right? The United States itself has over 340 million people in it. Okay? That's just us. That's not India. That's not China. That's not Pakistan. That is not Russia. That is not any of the big, huge population places. But this itty-bitty little place with a little bit over 1 million people in it somehow manages to run all of the largest companies on the planet. And all the DOD-based companies. Come on, dude.
Paid for by
Technically, a
the
lot of these
Lord
are
Rothschild
PLCs
in
or
Balfour
limited.
Agreement.
Therefore, they've got stock-owned shareholders, which anybody, in theory, could become.
Because we got killed at the get-go, coming out of the gate after World War II because of what happened during World War II. Because nobody can say a word if somebody happens to be Jewish. Because if you say anything, you are now anti-Semitic. That is ridiculous. But with that, I got to take us out to our last break of the evening. We shall return in just a few moments with the Vixen's Vault.
All right, we're on radio break.
And they're
why
they're
the
actually
British wouldn't help us. That's why they wouldn't help us in this with Trump. The British wouldn't. Nope, they weren't going to help.
They're trying to force his hand. I know.
Well, no,
Actually,
it's the
that's how,
Rothschild Bank. They're all part of the bank.
I'm not so sure. I would argue that it's because we've got an incompetent government in Britain at the moment.
No, it's not in their interest. It's not in their
Well,
financial
we've got an
interest.
incompetent government. It's not in their interest. I mean, we could make similar sort of argument when it comes to the Chagos Islands and
well, the problem being, Mark, is it an incompetent government that's making decisions based off the demands of corporate empires, which is what's happening everywhere. Yeah. That is not something that happens overnight. That is something that embeds over time. And it's been happening.
London for,
that's it. What changed the dynamic?
The power that has been invested into people like Tony Blair, as an example.
Oh, but what I'm saying is, but the difference is you have to look at what changed. Because apparently this all worked and we were all freaking oblivious to most of it. Nobody bothered to look up anything. What changed? And I can tell you what changed. Donald Trump changed. Yeah. Donald Trump came into office and suddenly people are talking about things. Then Q happened. Okay. Yep. Then Q happened.
About these things for a lot longer, but granted.
I would say 15 years.
Actually, I would say arguably since 1997. I could argue 1992.
I think it was bad. It was bad, but I'm going to tell you right now, the last 10 years, freaking everybody's okay. Nobody knows.
Great.
Yep.
And I've said that before, I know, but think about it. I mean, nobody gets this going on.
I think that's intentional because now they have ruffled the feathers and the deep state's going nuts. But I think it started, like if I was going to put my peg on things when people started kind of getting suspicious that things were not what we were being told, it was when Syria became a problem. when Obama took office and suddenly Syria became a public enemy, and suddenly Bashar al-Assad was like a maniac, and when Syria was our ally not even 2 years earlier, and it's like suddenly they're public enemy number one. And yep, we find out that Halliburton has got their fingers into the natural gas under Syria.
I'm looking at this on the longer sort of point. I'm thinking the breakup of the Soviet Union in 91.
Yes, the drop of them. Yep, because everything went black market because there was a lot of stuff going out on the black market.
It goes back to the neocon. You gotta understand, they actually money on. Okay, and that's their biggest wish, their biggest dream is we just need to have two enemies that freaking fight and one not fight.
Yep. Oh, come on, let's go back to Ronald Reagan. Let's all eat donuts. Oh, I can't believe he did that. Cannot believe he did that.
But
Still can't believe he did that.
They loved the Cold War because the Cold War brought money in.
Yep. But again, look at the amounts of money that DoD is raking in now. I mean, the fact that Trump put an EO into place 3 months ago that actually stops them from being able to do what they've been doing. I mean, it had to happen that way. That we had to have a president make an executive order so we don't have to pay, $800 for a normal porcelain toilet seat anywhere that's within the DoD.
And
that's crazy.
And the Jatara in the military is a military operation. That whole thing, that's why they're involved. That's why you want them involved, to protect it.
Well, at least some of them. I mean, but the military, again, because under Biden, you forget all the things that kept us a decent military got squashed.
And that's how they kept it
4,
secret.
3,
a lot of the military
2,
don't know a thing.
1, and you're back live and on the radio side right now.
And we're back, 10:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, April the 22nd, 2026. Welcome back to the show, everybody. God, we have the most interesting break conversations sometimes. They go down multiple rabbit holes at one time, but yet it's weird because even Mark, even my buddy on the other side of the pond over there, Fabio, even we all end up on the same page in a weird way. We may not agree how we end up on the same page, but we all kind of see that these problems have been there and that it's been happening, and it was just because they all, I guess you could say, the way they had set things up, the way corporations, the banks, all of them were playing, the military, all of them. And this is not just the United States, by the way, folks. This is pretty much the whole world that's been doing this dance. They have played it so seamlessly where just money was disappearing from our pockets and into their pockets. But we didn't see it because we were kept comfortable. We were kept totally distracted by so many different things. And again, I think it's funny because I always thought to myself, how did COVID fit into this with Trump? I try to figure out the logic of things sometimes. I'm like, he had to have known. If the Anons knew, which we did, he would have to have known something. Why did he let it happen? And I thought, he let it happen so the distractions would be minimized. That's why he let it happen. Because, again, we were all stuck in our houses. Remember that? We had so many people join the Anon movement because they were bored off their asses and had nothing better to do. So they started getting on their computers and research and watching videos and researching and watching videos. And like the movement got huge. And, of course, then Biden gets into office and it got bigger because we were seeing things happening that was like, oh, this is not good. Oh, this is not good. And then, of course, you had ridiculously retarded, obvious situations with Joe Biden that made you question what was going on in the administrative end of the White House. The man is crapping his pants in public in a foreign country with foreign dignitaries, and, oh, he's fine. No, I'm pretty sure nope. How many times did he fall down the stairs at Air Force One while we all watched? I mean, we made fun of Gerald Ford for like 30 years for freaking his little debacles. But Joe Biden, like, it was like a week, every week and a half, something else was happening. He couldn't remember his own kid's birthday. Couldn't remember. He forgot Bo was dead. I mean, oh my God, this was your president. I'm speechless as to how that all unraveled and how many people that kind of shook awake. Where it was just, and I thought to myself, yep, that's why. It minimized distractions and it allowed people to really kind of focus in. And it was like a train wreck. Once you saw it, you couldn't look away. It was just like, I know people who are literally watching the news, like C-SPAN, just to see something stupid that Joe Biden would do. And it's like, that was their entertainment. That was the president of the United States. But it's true.
What about the people did? They didn't agree with it. They thought, oh no, he just, no problem. And you're like, what?
But that has to tell you that, again, the cover, everything that was happening, it involved the press, it involved the news stations, it involved Hollywood, it involved the music industry, it involved, I can't tell you how many different, it's in everything. And that's why I keep saying every time people get impatient, and I'm like, you're not understanding the girth of what has to happen.
This thing is, I know.
You don't get it, because where you lob off one head, like 5,000 more are going to appear. That's they're so, it's just so embedded. It's been here for so long. I mean, it's nuts. And like I said, and what are you going to do? Arrest Hillary Clinton? Parade her before our judicial system? Really? You think that's going to work? The same system that said, oh, we don't need to charge her. She's just an idiot who didn't know what classified material was. What?
It has to be military tribunals. It does.
She was, like I said, that when that email fiasco happened, she wasn't just the Secretary of State. She was a very powerful attorney for a very powerful law firm for many years, and a very good attorney. And you're telling me she didn't know what was on a server that was hidden in her bathroom? That she didn't know what the classified marking was? What?
Yeah.
I mean, how stupid are people that they actually were like, well, it's Hillary Clinton, too big to fail. And then within 4 years, they're making up charges. They are literally making up laws to prosecute Donald Trump because nobody's too big to be charged. What? It boggles the mind. And so, like I said, if you do not understand how messed up our judicial system is, and our legal system, and a lot of our federal agencies, law enforcement, you name it, it is bad. There is no way, even if Trump wanted to, he could not. It would be a waste of taxpayer money, a waste of taxpayer time, and he showed us that already because they've already tried to indict several people, and the courts dismissed it.
For him to waste our money in that way. I'm sick of him wasting our money in other ways. Waste our money on that stuff. I'm saying, like, go that direction. People need to be brought to.
But how do you know they're not? Yeah. Because again, there are files being compiled.
There are tribunals going
on. How many people have gotten in trouble with emails?
They have been indicted. Several have been indicted, Roger. And what happened?
That's not prosecution.
But what is going to happen if you indict them and they get?
I would rather see my money get wasted going in.
No, we don't have the money, Roger.
System. No, we don't. Not with ours.
You said it yourself that our justice system is horrible.
Flawed.
To be fixed. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. You go that direction.
Really? So who's going to stop the judges? Because the judges have made it pretty clear that they're more powerful than the president of the United States.
That's the issue.
That's wrong. That's totally wrong.
See, and that needs to be worked on, right?
What's the answer, Roger? What is the only answer that
you start wasting money going that direction?
Military.
No,
the military is the only answer. It is, because even if you waste the money, they will crash the system just so they can keep control.
If you're talking,
you cannot.
If you're talking military, the only solution is civil war. That is it. If you really
this is all done to avoid the Civil War. This is how it's done this way. Yes.
This system that you call government is gone. The only thing that's
it is.
That is going to be a civil war. We need to freaking take people out of power, reinstall the Constitution, and
that's with the continuation of government.
But here's again. Whoa.
We don't have a constitutional government anymore.
But let's go logical, Roger. You say, okay, civil war, but the problem is that the people we're talking about have buku weapons.
Let them use it.
Like, no, way more than like you, myself, Ralphie. They are in charge. Like, that's why we're seeing a lot of military people get dismissed. They're in powerful places.
Hey, let these military men fire. Let these military men fire on a 52-year-old man with a
something that you are ignoring. Something you.
Well, what do you do about people in groups like Halliburton, Roger?
Yeah.
That's an army.
All
right. A real army.
That's fine.
Yep.
You know what? I think American citizens have no balls anymore. It's like you stand up against these people. You go out there with a double-barrel shotgun. You go out there with a freaking...
You are being very, very naive.
That's not naive. That's not. That's how we won our independence against you guys.
I agree with him. I agree with him.
2 shells in the shotgun.
Are you willing to die for your country? That's the whole question.
I agree with Roger in that respect, but I also have to caution Roger with the fact that we have about 40% of our population who think it's more important to go out and protect cartel members in our population than it is to fight for this country. They burn our flag, Roger.
Yes.
I mean, it's not, we are not the people we were 40 years ago.
Wait. Don't listen, this whole thing that you threw out about 40% of the population wanting to protect cartel members has nothing to do with protecting cartel members. You got to protect the identity of the United States. You got to protect the Constitution. It has nothing to do with them. Their lives don't mean shit.
I
understand they're willing to do what
How
they're
many
doing.
people know that, though? How many people know that we're supposed to be, protecting the Constitution? You ask the people, they don't know.
But the whole cartel becoming a terrorist group, according to Trump, was only a ploy so that he would be able to justify his attack on them. That was all.
No, exactly. That's not true.
Okay, here's another thing,
not
too.
True.
And I totally disagree with the military is the way. Because the military, where do you think they get their education from? Oh,
exactly.
They get their education from the liberal colleges and universities that we send them to. Okay, so they're not only military indoctrinated, but they're indoctrinated by that system as well. So you cannot trust a military tribunal. All right?
But you can trust Space Force, can't you? You can trust the fact that we've got
The military
because we do.
This country. That's why you go back to the military. It's all been set up. The continuity of government. They're already in charge, and that's how you do it. They're trying to avoid a civil war because nobody knows what's going on. I mean, if you ask,
I'm hearing all this shit from people that
policeman-
never served, and I'm telling you right now, the military culture is the military culture, and they will stomp on your dick if you do not agree with or
language.
If you do not agree with or toe the line, there is no answering back. There is no equivocation. When they take over, it is not going to be the kind of government that you want.
If you want to know what indentured servitude is,
that's my fear.
It's not permanent, though.
The minute you enlist into the service, that's indentured servitude.
Exactly.
All right.
But it's not permanent.
And it is beat into them.
And it's
beat into them, though. It is
government. They have their own laws of how it's supposed to go. Then we're supposed to have the general elections. I mean, it's all been planned out. And
How many general elections have you seen actually happen after they declare martial law?
how
Anywhere
many
in the world?
martial law? Are you aware that we're in
Let's
a
say
martial
Ukraine.
law situation right now?
Let's say
Yeah,
Ukraine.
we are.
We are in a
We
martial
are in a
law
martial law.
situation. So, and there's going on.
But again,
It's this double government thing going on.
Three,
Where
it's three governments, not two. There's books underneath the books. Like if you want to get into that, you start talking about child care, foster care, stuff like that. That's a
Yep.
third set of law.
And federal
Yep.
government
And
is
then
middle
and then
management.
you have the
that goes under.
Commonwealth.
Right.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
Well, there's common. Well, didn't he just put us back on that we're a sovereign nation? Didn't you read that just recently?
Yes. Yep.
So, that all the judges are going to have to go back to school. We're not under the British Bar Association maritime law anymore.
Right,
So they're
Mark,
going to
yeah,
have to go back.
right,
They're going
Mark.
to have to go back.
Yep. Yep. And that's something I pointed out so many times that actually we've been this country has been acting unconstitutionally since like the early 1800s.
Yeah.
And it's because they did pass that the TONA law, the 13th Amendment, the Titles of Nobility law, that was frickin' passed. And it was put into constitutions. And like literally it just when they realized, oh wait, that includes lawyers. Because Esquire is a title of
Esquire,
nobility.
yep. Yeah,
Exactly.
you're
Yep.
right.
The 13th has been changed, what, 3 times now?
Oh, that's what I'm saying though. They just when they don't like something, like we have had amendments that were fully ratified, and then they just say, oh well, no, it wasn't. It really wasn't ratified. So 5-6 years later, we didn't ratify it correctly, so it's no longer an amendment. And no, and it's happened repeatedly in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Repeatedly, not once, not twice. I mean, and it seems the number 13, which I find really cryptically creepy because of the 13 number always being a bad luck number. But the 13th Amendment seems to be ground zero for that. Because not once, not twice, 3 times there's a 13th Amendment passed.
And we had to.
So it's crazy. Like I said, the first one was the TONA, the second one was the Civil War, where they were the North really outed their butts by basically saying that, okay, so you guys in the South can keep your slaves, but you have to pay a 40% tax on each one. That was the North's solution to the war.
Because it's not fair. Because we have
and
to
the South said,
yeah.
the South said, absolutely not, and bombed the crap out of Fort Sumter. So it's like, okay, good job, but it had nothing to do with freeing the slaves, and whatever you're reading in the history book is incorrect in that way. The North did not fight the South to free the slaves. They fought the South to make the South either not have free labor or pay for that free labor to the North. That's what the war was about.
Well, it was land grab. It was land grab for the purpose of taxation.
This all goes back to the Federalist, anti-Federalist. Actually,
yep.
The Federalists were they were against the Bill of Rights. The anti-Federalists used that eventually. Yep. The Federalists wanted to take more and more control.
Well, it was industrialization too, Roger. You forget, right as the Civil War was, the 1850s is when you started to see that little push into the age of industrialization, and the captains of industry realized that they're building all these like assembly line type facilities, and they have to pay people to work them. And here's the South with the free labor assembly lines who are making mucho profit because they don't have to pay their labor.
Actually, I would argue that at least in Europe, the sort of industrial revolution started around the Napoleon Wars times, or 1810, 1808.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was 1850. It was burgeoning.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And they, like I said, the Northern captains of industry You ever think about the fact that we only refer to the northern millionaires as the captains of industry? You never hear about the southern ones because that's just the way it was written. Because they just got blotched out because they didn't feel that it was a fair process because they didn't have to pay their employees. Oh my God. But it's true story, and like I said, if you read it, and even in the presidential papers, when you go into the presidential papers and you start reading what the game plan was for post-Civil War. Oh, somebody's got their speaker on. There we go. But if you look at the game plan, and you say, because nobody ever asked the question, what was Abraham Lincoln going to do with all the freed slaves? Well, he had a game plan. His game plan was to send them all to Panama because they couldn't ship it. It was not affordable to ship them all back to Africa. And he did not believe that the black man and the white man could integrate into society because he didn't feel that they had the equal intelligence to be in a society with white people and be treated as equals. It was kind of I feel bad saying this, but it was like a sympathy thing with him where he knew that they would never be treated as equal. So he said, we're just going to send them to Panama. That was his game plan.
He wasn't Liberian?
Well, yeah, it's in writing. But the funny thing is Jefferson Davis, who was actually the Confederacy president, quote unquote, his game plan was actually to set them free at the end of the war. So you're not taught history the way it actually happened. It's like they made Abraham Lincoln into this godlike figure. He wasn't a guy. I think he was a good president. I think he was a good man. I think he did what he had to do. I think he did what he thought would be right in that time period. But they also make Jefferson Davis look like, the devil with horns and everything else, and he really wasn't. He was not. He understood that, you couldn't continue to keep the slaves. It was tides had turned. This needed to be abolished. And like I said, I always tell people, Robert E. Lee freed his slaves long before Ulysses S. Grant did. And Ulysses S. Grant was the next president. But Robert E. Lee literally freed his slaves like halfway through the Civil War. Ulysses S. Grant kept his after the war. They had to threaten him to get rid of his slaves. And his reasoning was not because he loved slavery, but what are they going to do? Where are they going to go? I house them. I feed them.
Yeah.
I take care of their families. What are they going to do?
They're up a creek without a paddle. They really are.
Yep.
They were. For a long time. Sharecropping. Terrible.
Yep, but like I said, it is not what you learn in the history books. What is written down is like some fairy tale propaganda story. The real story is actually much more human, much more interesting, and you can see the dynamics. Like these were real people. Wow. And if I put myself in their time period, yeah, I get what Lincoln was saying. You really, that could go really badly. And as we saw in the South, it did go badly. It went really badly.
Well, what does the Constitution say about revolution?
It says you are by law. We are, and this was why I protested January 6th. By law, if we know something that the government has been desecrated, that we know that there is, what's the word I'm looking for? If it's been compromised, okay, we are, as citizens of this country, required to stand up. It's not a choice. You are required to. That is what the Constitution states.
Was it the Declaration of Independence?
No, it's in the Constitution. I got to find it in the Constitution, but I know it's in the Constitution. You are required as a citizen.
Was it Thomas Jefferson said that there should be a revolution here every 20 years or something?
Yep.
Just to get rid of the swill up there in D.C. That's all they are, the swill.
Well, and we should not have, we have literally dynastic politics here where you have people in office 50, 60 years. What?
Yeah.
And even after.
And then they're Look at the Kennedy family. It was a dynastic thing. I mean, it's crazy. We should never have one family have that much control. Ever. The Bush family, another dynasty. Multiple dynasties within politics.
Check with Mark. He knows all about it in Britain. All those families.
Indeed.
Yeah, actually, we can trace all their bloodlines back to Britain there, Mark, too. So that's like crazy, but it's true. They all go back to England, to the royal family, no less, in England. It's crazy. Which is kind of funny because the royal family in England, the current royal family, is not really actually a British family. But there's that. That's kind of crazy.
Fish, that heresy is Dutch.
Yeah, Dutch and German.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are not, that royal family is not British. I'm like, they actually changed their name post World War One because it was German, and the people were like, "Oh hell no!"
Yep. Sorry, you misunderstood me. I was talking about George Bush. His Dutch dynasty is actually Dutch, I believe.
Don't get me
His diet actually no. He's got, it's very questionable with his heretic because he had, his grandfather was actually in office during World War II. He was a senator. So there's also bloodlines that go into Germany with the Bush family. And they were connected to the Third Reich. I mean, you start chasing their family lines, and you don't. Ugh. It's like, oh man.
Obama related to the royal family?
Yes, Obama and the Bushes are related by blood. And like I said, it's crazy because you think to yourself, we really are the Fourth Reich. We really are. The United States really is the Fourth Reich. I mean, it's crazy, but we are. But with that, I got to take us out of here before we get cut off the air. I know I'm a little bit early, folks, but I'm giving Mark some breathing room before he starts having some palpitations on me, and I can't get to Texas to help him out. But, guys, join us next week for yet another Vixen's Vault. Hopefully we'll have some answers on the David Wilcock situation. Things become a little bit more clarified because that's really got me curious as to what happened there. Again, I'm gonna withhold judgment because I'm not sure he's dead. We did have confirmation from the police department out in Denver, Colorado, but we have not had any confirmation from the coroner. But even if we did, I don't know if I would believe it or accept it because, like I told you at the beginning of the show, lies, and more lies. Lies, and more lies.
And I posted on the wall there, Telegram, what Telegram is saying about it and what he said about it.
Yeah.
I know.
She is. She's
I'm trying
spicy.
to distract from Fabio over there.
Oh, she's spicy. Oh, she's spicy.
All right, sorry, we gotta end this. We gotta end this. Stop talking, guys.
All right, guys. Join us next week for yet another fun and exciting version of the Vixen Vault. And I say version tongue in cheek. We're out of here for the night. Have a great week.
Yeah, we're cutting it close, but okay.
Not my fault.
With this,
come on, you had to give Vicky her little freaking feistiness, man. That was
you can barely hear her. You gotta
reminds me
speak
of a
up
chihuahua.
more, Vicky. What happened?
What?
You got to speak up more. You're getting real soft again.
I was speaking up the whole time. Didn't you hear me?
Yeah. Now she's gonna split your eardrums. No. There you go, Mark. Good job.
Okay.
Mark was shrieking. Oh, I just love the Fabio line. That.
You never heard me call Mark Fabio? I tell him he does the Fabio flip all the time.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. It just reminded me. I thought it was funny.
All right. Well, we're getting there. So let's. I'm going to host out tonight too the Great Conspiracy. So everybody that's in here with me over on Kick, please take in. He's been restreaming us